Oh, that's loud. That's a little less loud, but that's still loud, but like less loud, which is good. Anyways. Hello, 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 hello. Okay. Anyways. Hello, friends. Why do I have so much shit piled up on my chair? Oh, it's all the clothes I have not yet folded. Lol. It's the clothes I wore to work today and yesterday, so I just casually have a pair of pants hanging on my chair, a skirt, and 2 t-shirts, you know, so, chair feeling kind of crowded. Yeet! Throw it onto my bed. I missed. Now there's a pile. Oh, half of it made it onto the bed. The other half is just lying in a heap on the floor. That's nice. It's fine though. My floor pretty clean, so we're bing chillin'. What is this? Oh, my hand towel. I was looking for this. Wow, I've gotten distracted like 7 times in the course of the last minute and a half about since I started streaming. Anyways, hello friends. Happy Tuesday, isn't it? It is Tuesday. Welcome back to what I hope will genuinely be the last Shibuya Scramble stream. I will indeed be trying quite hard to finish this game. Obviously I'm not gonna like speed run it or anything, because that's insane. And you know, I'm gonna take my time and still enjoy the game, but I really am not gonna drag and like have a bunch of complex decisions or whatnot. I don't know. Well, complex decisions, yes, it's a given, but excuse me. I ate dinner like 20 minutes ago, so but yes, I will be hopefully wrapping up this game today because we have been playing it for a really long time. And again, not because of a place of like boredom, but maybe not. I don't know. Boredom's not the right word, but you know that feeling when it's like you've been playing this game for so long, like, you know. In all fairness, it's really time to move on. It's really time for us to get to the end of this game. That's kind of where the stage I'm at right now, in terms of playing Shibuya Scramble. So, oops. We will definitely be trying pretty hard to move the plot forward and get to the very end. The heck? I just found a... What is this receipt for? Oh, I was fiddling around with some of the papers I haven't met, as I have a receipt for my haircut. But it doesn't have like the store name at the top, or I think it got torn off. It looks like they tore the receipt in the wrong spot by mistake. But yeah, that's pretty funny. I'm just like finding ambiguous receipt on my table. Alright, well. Fold it up, put it away, and oh, off we go. Off we go! That's what Lulu says when she ulties. 35 hours? I've been playing this game for 35 hours? Holy shit. Alright. I was borderline, like, I was so shooketh last episode when we got to unlock playing Tateno and Stanley. Stanley's a fucking beast, by the way. Stanley's a goon. I'm Team Stanley all the way out here, so... Tateno has a bad end where he gets shot by Kanan. And we need Stanley to fix that, I think. I think what happens is Stanley's gonna save him. So, we play Stanley's story. Ooh, that's quite loud. The area around Dogenzaka was in disarray. The government had declared a state of high alert, and the people... I'm pretty sure we can skip quite a bit of this. There we go. Not quite a bit. Well, that is the penguin of Ku. Yeah, Cuckoo. I am Cuckoo. Coco. That's Mrs. Coco to you, punk. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'd like to apologize for my behavior. I'm sorry. Anyways.
Hi, everyone. Come on. How are you doing today on this Tuesday?
You're married? Yes, to myself, because I'm that much of a narcissist that I went down to the went down to City Hall, got a marriage license for myself. And would you believe they said you can't do that? So instead, I created a fake ID under the alias of one of my split personalities. It's the Scottish one, and I married them instead, actually. So now I'm also a citizen of Scotland because I actually have to fake a citizenship. I had to get a passport. It was all very, very complicated. A lot of work that had to be done, but it's worth it to marry yourself. Great tax benefits, true. We can file joint taxes now. Joint tax return. Anyways, welcome to Shibuya Scramble, Kevin. He made it to his car, still parked on the roadside, unfortunately beyond the blocked-off area. Jumping in, he sped off towards the laboratory. What? 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 Wait. Let's see. Who has a jump? Oh, Teteno has a jump. Okay, lit. Keep out! No girls allowed. Or no boys allowed, I guess, because Stanley's boy. Lit. Okay, we already had broken this keep out anyways from last week. I like the tape tearing effect on the keep out. Yeah, no boys allowed. Boys have cooties. But I guess he is allowed now. The keep out tape has been removed. As he drove along, Stanley again tried to deduce Alfred's plan of action. If Alfred herself was on the way to the lab then what was the objective of the fake who'd been sent to the scramble? To act as a Oh, no! Don't open Maya! I tapped out of the game by accident, and then... Oh, stop! Okay, there we go. To get Hitomi's blood to act as a decoy to indiscriminate terrorism. I would say to get Hitomi's blood, double failsafe, in case they can't actually get the thing, the antiviral from the lab. To get Hitomi's blood. Alfred still hadn't gotten her hands on that. That must be why she proposed the exchange. No, Stanley sensed that he was jumping to the wrong conclusion. It was too easy, it's too obvious. Nothing was really as it seemed. Hitomi's blood wasn't the only means to obtain the antiviral. Alfred was on the way to the lab right now. So long as she was able to get able to gain entry, she'd be able to get her hands on the antiviral there. Did that mean that the negotiations down at the scramble were just a scheme for buying time? Fuck, I think I chose the wrong choice. That didn't seem quite right. Aha! Stanley blurted aloud. He just realized what Alfred hoped to accomplish at the scramble. Alfred had been careful to wipe out almost everyone she'd associated with in the past. This was precisely why all of her defining characteristics, such as age and sex and nationality, had been unknown. It was unthinkable that she'd allowed this decoy, who'd almost certainly know who she really was, to stay alive. And since Hitomi carried the antiviral in her body, Alfred likely wanted to get rid of her as well. In all likelihood, the terrorist mastermind was planning to steal the antiviral from the lab. But as long as some of it remained in Hitomi's bloodstream, she wouldn't have a monopoly on it. By arranging for Hitomi and the decoy to meet, she could eliminate them both at the same time. And that's what her objective was. Fuck! You know what? The question was how. We're gonna be kind of a weenie and we're gonna redecide this choice because the game told us the right choice, basically. I just want to be a Giga Chad. I was thinking about the decoy thing, but... Oh, wait. That's actually not quite the right answer, though. Surely that was the imposter's purpose, Amogus, but it wouldn't be a simple matter of providing a brief distraction. Alfred had been careful to wipe out almost anyone she'd associated with in the past, yeah. We read this. It was unthinkable that she'd allow this. Okay. The question was how. Beginning with her bombings in Chicago, Alfred had made a frequent use of remote-controlled explosives. It was likely that she'd opt for something similar here as well. But she wasn't going to be able to be at the scrambles herself. So how in the world was she going to trigger the explosion? Was there some clue to be found in something she'd said earlier or done? Think. 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 Brain blast! Try to remember. Think. Try to remember. Brain blast! Oh, not yet. If he didn't do something, everyone at the scramble is probably going to die. Then, as he desperately racked his brain, he remembered something Kano had said. It had been while they were at the scene of the minivan explosion together. He said that he'd heard a cell phone ringtone at the time of the explosion. Not sure if that's significant, though. Ooh. It's a sound trigger bomb? Because we heard it as well in the bad endings we got where Kano and Achi die at the scramble. Stanley recalled the recent exchange between Alfred and Hitomi. The two had called each other's cell phones. Alfred hadn't really been checking to make sure she had the right number. She'd been checking to make sure Hitomi hadn't changed her ringtone. Sneaky. That was it. The bomb was set to detonate in response to a specific piece of music. And the ringtone on Hitomi's phone was the trigger. Where could the bomb be hidden then? Stanley didn't have the time to think. He needed to alert Kano and the others right away. As he pulled out his phone again, he recalled the map of the stakeout positions. Kano will be probably right next to the decoy Alfred. It might be a mistake to call him under the circumstances. Maybe he couldn't risk calling Kano, but he could call Achi. Stanley dialed Achi's Endo's number. Please don't let me be too late, he muttered to himself as he waited for the cell phone to pick up. But although he called repeatedly, Achi still didn't pick up. Was he already too late? Stanley dreaded the answer to that question. What? Bro. Okay, 1910. Fuck, I didn't mean to press that. What are these two jumps? We already completed that jump. That broke the first keep out. Who's this one? Come on. What about this one? Stanley. This is the first time I was like, Stanley! And then lost a fuck, I think, right? Or lost a fuck? What the heck? Flip the fuck out. Pulling out his cell phone, Kano dialed up Osawa. As he did, he recalled the last exchange with Stanley at the electronics shop, so this should be unlocked now, finally. Oh. Maybe not. Why did that... You know what? Let's follow the jump and just see what happens real quick. No, that doesn't break the keep out. Shoot, I mean, now Achi, his story, both Achi and Kano no longer have a bad ending, but I think this leads to the same bad ending for them, because we actually kind of had something similar before, but I don't entirely recall. Okay, he doesn't really care if he survives. Oh no, he was going to unleash the virus, accepting that it would kill him too. Alfred met Achi's eyes, and seeing the haunted realization there, the terrorist flashed a wicked and triumphant grin. Enough of this high and mighty axe, Asuma shouted. He began to stomp towards Alfred, but he didn't reach him in time. The vials in Alfred's hands went sailing high into the air. Look out! Catch him! Catch him! Achi gestured for his comrades to fan out across the open space. The vials seemed to almost vanish against the backdrop of the evening sky. How many of them had this guy even thrown? There was no way to tell for sure. And if even one of them broke open, it would be a death sentence for Shibuya. They had to make sure they caught them all. Spinning around in the midst of chaos, Achi saw Susumu catch one vial deftly. Many of the other gang members appeared to have done the same. Oh, we didn't get this before. There's one more over here! The desperate shout had come from Hitomi. She'd spotted a vial sailing high in an arc away from all the SOS members. Damn it! Achi launched into motion, ignoring the searing pain in his leg, but the falling vial was so far away. Yeah! It was now or never. He threw himself into a head-first slide. Let's fucking go! Nice catch! The gang members broke out into cheering and applause. Achi got to his feet and looked around, but saw no signs of either Kano or Alfred. Hey, Achi, if you're looking for the detective, Susumu gestured with his chin. Achi saw Kano far away across the scramble, chasing after Alfred. Soon, both men were lost in the crowd. Achi would have to charge off in pursuit as well, but his wounded leg made that impossible. Get him, detective, he murmured under his breath. We're counting on you. Yeah, I don't... There were screams coming from all directions, but as Achi started to fade from consciousness, the voices got softer and softer. Oh, he's holding hands with Hitomi. That's actually... Okay. Through the haze of pain, he saw a bloodied arm stretched out before him. He saw a hand that had been clasped with his hand all day long. The fingers feebly reach out for him, and Achi intertwined them with his own. Aww. It took the very last of his strength. Then... both hands subsided into stillness. Oh. What? I gotta remind myself, because I think we might have actually done this last week, but I do have to remind myself what jumping to Kano here does. I don't think it does anything, because I think Kano used to have a keep out here, and it actually just broke it. That's it. I think. The shout had come from Achi, so they have secular storytelling here. An instant... We already did a lot of this. Wait, that's a different Stanley breakout point. It goes all the way back here, though. Wait, there was red, was it? Yes, we already played through this. Basically just gonna keep speeding through and trying to find... Find a place where it allows us, essentially, to... Right, break Jack's keep, Stanley's keep out. We've already played this jump, right? I just want to double check. The white guy looks like Agent Smith from the Matrix. He kind of does. Oops. 1650. No, that's a different keep out. We need to break out the 1905 keep out. No, we just played that. We just reviewed that as well. Honestly, I'm not too sure. I mean, the answer lies in one of these two. Suzumu, the shout had come from Achi. I'm honestly, truthfully, getting quite lost in all these jumps going on right now. Was this guy Alfred? The man arrived directly in front of Hitomi. Yeah. Is there anywhere Stanley can... We already played that jump. Huh. I mean, let's go back and correct the choice though, because the first choice that I had made the first time was the bluff one. And I think that was... I chose the second one just because I wanted to alternate and see what happened. It's just the bluff. He knows he can't get away. His only chance would be trying to spread the virus around and take all of us distracted. Right, but then he just says, "Get him, detective, we're counting on you." Man, and we've made this jump before, no? We've made all this jumps before. Yeah, okay, it doesn't... I'm now wondering, right, do I need to jump from a position that had already been jumped? That seems plausible. So there's no jumps in Stanley's story. What choices do you have again? This doesn't seem like a productive answer. Only these two seem like productive answers. Maybe we don't make the choice to call. Oh, wait, it's Hitomi's fucking ringtone. Oh my god. So we don't call Hitomi. Don't call her. Is the choice here? It doesn't matter what Hitomi says. Okay, wait, let's change. Let's really replay this choice real quick. Because I don't quite... I think I chose the same thing I chose last time. Let's choose the other one. Stop. This is the sort of nonsense we don't have time for right now. This is the sort of nonsense we don't have time for right now. Okay, that fixes that. Kanan shook her head, then put her phone away. Oh, so she doesn't call Hitomi. If you're really Alfred, then you don't actually need to hack the password, Tateno said. I'm guessing you've already gotten it from Tanaka, which means you'll be able to get your hands on the antiviral as soon as you get into the lab. Kanan didn't so much as flinch. The only thing stopping you is the antiviral still in Hitomi Osawa's blood. Possessing the antiviral and having monopoly on it are two very difficult things. Different things. You want to eliminate Hitomi. That's why you lured her down to the scramble. Am I wrong? If that's true, then how am I planning on getting rid of her? Using the so-called substitute Alfred or something? Yes, that's right. Tendo couldn't be certain, but he couldn't think of any other way. Kanan let out a laugh. You don't know the first thing about Alfred, she said. Alfred keeps the outlines of his plan blurred so that his deliberate actions just get lumped in with coincidence. How would she know that? 'Cause she's Alfred. That's how he's able to pull off his schemes by himself. He'd never solicit help from a third party. What about Daisuke? The words seemed like they were Kanan's, but also seemed like they were Alfred's. With his gun still ready, Tateno got out his phone and called Kano. The young detective was quick to pick up. Detective Tateno, what's going on? You need to get to Hitomi Osawa to safety immediately. Alfred isn't trying to get at her blood. He wants her eliminated. What? Hurry! Yes, sir. Once he'd gotten Kano's confirmation, Tateno had hung up. Holy shit, okay. And now your little plan has been foiled, Tateno said. Kanan snorted. Has it now? If I really am Alfred, then all I need to do is eliminate you here and head right on into that lab. Even without her gun ray, she still radiated intimidation. Tateno might have had her at gunpoint, but he could feel the threat of her presence like a gathering storm. Oh, what the heck? Eliminate me? He said, doing his best to mask any sign of weakness. You're the one who doesn't have your gun ready. I don't need my gun, Kanan said sharply. And why's that? Because you can't shoot me. What's that supposed to mean? Kanan glared sharply at Tateno. Her look pierced him like a blade. Then she quirked an unsettling smile and took a step closer to him. Don't move, he warned. Tateno said, I don't want to pull this trigger if I don't have to. I don't want to pull this trigger if I don't have to. It's not that you don't want to pull that trigger. It's that you can't pull that trigger. Kanan took another step closer. You're still traumatized from that time you let your friend's wife die. How do you know all about that? Oh, we're still at bad end. Fuck. I think to save Tateno, we need to play Achi. Because we can't make this jump to Achi, can we? Or Kano, I guess. Why not, though? Which means we need to play until we get a keep out for Kano. Oh, we never actually played Kano from this point on. We just jumped to Stanley. Fuck. The phone rang several times before Osala picked up. It's Kano. I had the password. Are you serious? Osala blurted in shock. Here, let me give it to you. You ready? Yes. 59 FBAI4QL1. I feel like that means something. As he passed along the alphanumeric sequence, Kano kept his eyes on Palmer. The man stared back at him with an expression of bitter defeat. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Then at last, Osala's excited voice came through. That did it! It opened! The lock opened! Kano let out a deep breath of utter relief. Palmer snorted. You're really satisfied with catching me and saving the life of one girl. I suppose it's the Japanese way to forget the pain that's been visited upon you. But it's not over. The bloodshed will continue. All over the world. Women, children, the elderly, the innocent. All will bleed, because absolute justice is our side. On our side. Is that right? Kano drove his fist into Palmer's face. There's no such thing as an absolute justice. It was the kind of blind faith that kept the world in conflict. Well, this shirt is quite the mess. Kuze, whirling around in surprise, Kano saw Kuze standing there. Director Kuze! He bowed his head apologetically. He may have apprehended the criminal mastermind, but only because he'd ignored a direct order to place Maria under quarantine. I'm sorry, sir. But I, saved the apology. Kuze interrupted. You're the one who solved the case. You did good, kid. Once again, Kano bowed, this time even more deeply. Oh, and one more thing, Kano. Yes, sir? Suzuyama has regained consciousness. Let's fucking go! Thought you'd like to know. Suzuyama, they were able to save him? I got a call from the hospital. Looks like he's gonna pull through. That's great! Really great news. Tears of relief came to Kano's eyes. This almost feels like an end to Kano's story, but we all know that, right, he has a keep-out that's gonna be broken by Tateno, which is sad. That Kano can't have a happy ending here. And if Osama was able to get the lock of the lab open, he should have been able to get Maria the antiviral without any further difficulty. Kano dragged Palmer to his feet, then undid the handcuff from his own wrists, using it to properly bind his captive. The middle ring snapped shut with a soft, satisfying click. Palmer limply hung his head. It was over. It was all finally over. What a day they've had, eh? It really has been quite a day, Kano reflected. Beyond all the challenges he'd faced, he had come face to face with his own shortcomings, yeah. Now he knew what a long way he had to go to be the man he wanted to be. But at least he learned what it truly meant to be a detective. Kusei was muttering to himself nearby. I mean, you don't even look alike, but... The director shook his head and cleared his throat. You know, Kano, for a second there you look just like Tateno. Really, sir? Kano smiled, fussing sheepishly with his hair. Kusei's words were the finest praise he could have asked for. Someday, he hoped he really might be a detective like Tateno. No, he decided he would be. Until then, he'd never give up on that dream. It might be a long, long road, but he would walk it. What, he wants to be a traitor? Omega. Lol. Kano looked up into the sky. The neon lights in the city shone from all over. This is the same old Shibuya that it always was. The one he looked at now with new eyes. Yep, there we go. But we can now break this keep out with Tateno. Kano's happy ending is ruined by this phone call, bruh. This is the same old Shibuya that... Okay. His cell phone rang. Tateno's name appeared on the incoming call display. Kano quickly picked it up. Detective Tateno? What's going on? You need to get Hitomi Ozawa to safety immediately. Alfred isn't trying to get at her blood. He wants her eliminated. What? Tateno wasn't making any sense. Alfred Palmer had already been arrested. The threat was over now. Hurry, Tateno barked. Yes, sir. Detective! Achi called out suddenly. He was standing with Hitomi and the others near the statue of Hachiko. Detective! That's not the real Alfred. He's a fake! A fake? Yeah, I just got a call from Stanley. Kano didn't want to believe it. This Alfred was really just a decoy that meant the real culprit was still elsewhere, still on the loose. Achi's voice rang with desperation. He said the real Alfred is planning to get rid of both Hitomi and the fake with some kind of bomb. To get rid of Hitomi. That lined up with what Tateno had just called to warn him about. It must be true then. Once again, Kano tensed. A bomb, but where? Get me the Explosive Ordnance Division. Someone squawked. We've got an emergency here. We're at the scramble outside the station. Hurry! The director started running towards the precinct, still shouting as he wove his way through the crowd. Kano felt himself starting to panic. If Hitomi and Palmer were the targets, the bomb had to be nearby. He stormed over to his captain. Okay, where's the bomb? He demanded. Palmer doesn't know what he's talking about, right? What are you talking about? Don't play dumb with me. Of course he doesn't know. He doesn't want to die either. I already told you the password, Palmer said. What point would there be in keeping things from you now? He had a point, yeah. And if he had known about the existence of the bomb, he kept it a secret so far. Getting him to reveal it now would not be easy. Kano decided to just have to go look for it himself. And tried to think logically. If he were Alfred, what would he do? How could he ensure that he'd eliminate both Hitomi and fake Alfred at the same time? Where would he plan to bomb in order to pull it off? On the fake? There was no other place he could possibly have planted it. That's actually a pretty interesting idea, honestly. On the fake? Stop. On the fake, there was no other place he could possibly plant it on Hitomi. That way he could be certain he'd at least eliminate her in a minivan. He was going to try the same ploy all over again. Probably not the minivan one. This is a pretty interesting decision. I'm gonna pick Hitomi though. Because right, Kanan could have easily slipped something onto Hitomi. That way he could be certain he'd at least eliminate her. Now that Hitomi carried the antiviral within her body, Alfred couldn't risk letting her go. If other terrorists had happened to find out about her and managed to get hold of her blood, it could undermine everything he'd done. Whether he succeeded or failed at getting the antiviral from her, killing Hitomi must have been part of the plan. Pardon me, miss, Kano said. I just need to search you real quick. Hitomi hesitated, then gave a firm nod. Actually, keep an eye on this guy, Kano called out, gesturing at Palmer. If he tries anything funny, feel free to punch his lights out. Sure thing. Kano carefully scanned Hitomi from top to bottom. A cursory look was enough to tell him that there wasn't anywhere on her person a bomb could feasibly be hidden. Nonetheless, he did a pat-down search just to make sure. She had her cell phone in her pocket, but beyond that, she wasn't carrying anything else of note on her person. Did you buy all the jewelry and the accessories you're wearing yourself? Yes, most of them. The ring I got from my sister. What about your clothes? I bought them just this afternoon. The top I was wearing before it got torn. I see. Kano sighed deeply. I don't think Alfred would have it right. No bomb. It wasn't there. Was Kano's guess off base, or had Stanley just been jumping at shadows? Deciding he'd better check with the American, Kano got out his cell phone. cell phone. Kano stared at his phone without dialing. That was it. People always kept their cell phones on them. If you want to plant a bomb, you'd be on one, you'd be sure to eliminate the owner. Hitomi, you have to give me your cell phone. It's a bomb. It was the only explanation. He took the phone from Hitomi and went to power it on. Smart boy. Stop, Achi shouted. Don't turn that thing on. Why not? I don't know. It's just what Stanley said. He told me to make sure her phone stayed off. There's no doubt about it. This was it. On his own phone, Kano called Director Kuze. Well, we still don't know where the bomb is, but right, Hitomi's phone is the trigger. Smurf? I ain't no Smurf.
Hey, Penguin Kiss, long time no see. How you been?
Have you done? Do you have Legends of Arceus? I don't, unfortunately. I don't. I really want to play it, but I just can't really afford new games right now. But hopefully you're enjoying the new mystery gift. Sorry, I'm very thirsty. I had pizza for dinner, and then I had some ice cream afterwards, so, like, I need water. It's Kano. I found the bomb. It's a miniature explosive inside a cell phone. Kano described the dimensions and weight of the phone. The director ordered him to stand by until the bomb squad arrived. Kano hung up, then gently set Hitomi's phone to the ground. I don't think her phone is the bomb itself. I just think, her phone is the trigger somehow. Well, I mean, she'd have to be in range of the bomb still for her phone to trigger, so maybe it is. What do we do now? Achi asked. For now, just let me handle this, Kano said. We don't know how or when this might explode. You guys get out of here. But, look, just get out of here, Kano snapped. I'm just waiting for the explosive ordnance unit to get here. After that, I'll clear out right away too. Don't worry. Alright. Achi took Hitomi by the hand and turned to go. So it's not her phone. It's a shiny version of the Zoroark mask. Well, that's pretty cool. An instant later, Kano's senses were knocked out of him by a thunderous explosion. Also, life virus. I'm sorry, I forgot because I got distracted by Smurf, but how was your walk? The blast was far too big to have come from something the size of a cell phone. So is it... Oh my god, is it in the van? Number 69. The bomb explodes. It's gotta be in the minivan then. If it's not Hitomi, then it's definitely not Alfred, because those are almost... Sorry, it's not Palmer. Those are almost, I think those are pretty synonymous answers in that, right, they're meeting at the same spot. I just figured it would have been on Hitomi because it would be easy to put something on Hitomi without her noticing if Kanan was with her. And then, like, it'd be harder to slip something onto Palmer, I think, because Palmer, one, would not willingly take it, right? As well as Kanan has probably not been in contact with him for a little bit. So, well, I mean, other people could have passed it to him, but, you know, I don't know. I think Hitomi and Palmer are pretty similar options here, so it's gotta be in the minivan. In a minivan. He was gonna try the same play all over again. Kano thought back to the other van explosion earlier that afternoon. Alfred would need an explosion big enough to wipe out both Hitomi and the fake Alfred, even if they got separated. Okay, yeah, that actually corrects the bad ending. Let's see. For now, with that in mind, rather than plant a bomb in one fixed spot, he would use a minivan which could be moved around to wherever Hitomi and Palmer happened to be. True. It's hot outside. I know, right? God, I was so sweaty when I got home from work. I restarted before I found that out, but I went to get the point of getting this. I'm just getting it since it's a purple mask. Purple! That's a cool mask, though. But why did you restart? That's really interesting. I mean, actually, it seems as if you're also someone who just enjoys restarting, because I know you started a second Genshin account, you've started new islands in Animal Crossing, so... You accidentally wiped your Monster Hunter save, I remember that. Not intentional, but still very sad. With that in mind, rather than plant a bomb in one fixed spot, he could, Achi, it's in the minivan. Look for a minivan. Kano scanned the area. There were plenty of vehicles parked all around, but no minivans. This seems strange. If the two intended victims were here now, he'd expect a bomb to be somewhere near as well. Still, he didn't spot a minivan anywhere. It could be in any other vehicle, honestly. Kano ground his teeth in frustration, sweat practically pouring from his forehead. Was he wrong in his assumptions? If he was wrong, where else could the bomb be hidden? His mind began to run in circles. Okay, you can do this, he told himself. Focus, just think. Focus. Think. He had to trust himself and then take action. He decided he just had to start checking whatever vehicles were close by. Leaving the fake Alfred under SOS's watch, he ran for the nearest parked car. He peered in through the side windows. There didn't appear to be anything suspicious inside. Of course, if the bomb were set in the engine compartment or the trunk, a cursory check would never finish. Still, he hurried toward the next car. He had to trust his detective's instincts. If he couldn't spot the bomb itself in a vehicle, maybe something else would alert him to its presence. Alfred had a certain criminal signature that Kano was sure would linger. God, I'm so bad. Am I talking not good today? I'm pretty tired from work, honestly. Almost canceled stream, but you know, we power on. Or power through. Power on. Nothing abnormal here. No problems here. Not this one either. With each car he checked, panic rose. About a minute, no, 2 minutes must have passed since he'd started searching for the bomb. Already more than 15 minutes passed since Palmer had appeared on the scene. Okay, so we're still doing okay, actually, in terms of not getting the bad ending. The detonation would come any moment now. Kano felt he might crumple under the weight of fear. It might already be too late. He felt utterly defeated. And then he saw it. A small, boxy minivan, and it was racing right toward him. Uh-oh. That was it. It had to be. The van drew steadily closer, streaming a massive plume of white smoke. Kano sprang into action. Stop! Stop that vehicle! He rushed right into the minivan's path, bracing himself to stop it with his own body necessary. The driver's compartment was filled with white smoke, making it impossible to see who was driving. The van might be unmanned. Stop! Kano shouted again. He knew it was probably pointless, but he had to try. Oh my god, what? That ending still? Oh. Kano lived. Kano whirled around. He could see countless bloody bodies scattered across the pavement. What the hell had just happened? It wasn't the minivan that had exploded. The bomb must have been hidden somewhere else. Fuck! It's on Palmer, isn't it? No, how? Kano crumpled to his knees. The minivan drove right on past him. The chilling breeze in its wake washed over him like the winds of despair. Fuck! Is it actually on Dr. Palmer? What? On the fake. There was no other place he could possibly have planted it. Kano began to pat Palmer down carefully. Hachi, he shouted, check the case. I was about to say check the case. Hurry! He gestured toward the attaché case Palmer had been carrying. Don't move. Kano searched through his captive's jacket and pockets of his pants, but came up with nothing. Perhaps Alfred had fitted the bomb into the man's watch or belt? Stop this. I'm not carrying a bomb. Shut your mouth. But Kano couldn't spot anything suspicious about the watch or the belt either. Did Palmer really not have it after all? Detective! It was Hachi. He looked alarmed. Kano hurried over him, dragging Palmer along. That makes sense for it to be in the case. When he looked inside the attaché case, Palmer's face went pale. No, wait, it can't be. Alfred, why? His voice was hoarse with betrayal. Then he abruptly broke into stilted laughter. Trusting someone really does make you blind. Such a simple, childish ruse, and it went right under my nose. Palmer looked over at Kano. We need to get out of here immediately, he said. That right there is C4, a high yield plastic explosive used by the military, and that's enough to blow this whole area to smithereens. A chill ran up Kano's spine. Do not let this man go, he said, handing Palmer over to Suzumu. Got it, just leave it to us. Suzumu signaled his followers to immediately dump Palmer unceremoniously on the ground. Kano carefully inspected the inside of the attaché case. Achi had found a false bottom in the case. The space beneath was indeed packed full of plastic explosive. Set within it was what looked like a detonator. Kano didn't know much about bomb disposal. He'd only been taught the very basics during his police academy training. Nonetheless, something drew his eye. A microphone. There's a parabolic microphone attached to the detonator. In all likelihood, the detonator had been set off to go in response to some sort of sound. Hey, detective, is that thing gonna explode or not? Achi's voice was shaky. It looks like it's sound activated, but it hasn't gone off yet from having people talking nearby. That means it must be set to explode in response to a specific sound trigger. Specific sound, huh? Achi took a moment to think. That's it. It must be Hitoni's ringtone. That's why Stanley had me power her cell phone off. So that means we're safe then? Hitomi asked. I don't think that's right though. It's not going to explode anymore, right? Because in the other bad endings we've gotten, it has exploded even though her phone was off. Kano had to fight back any feeling of relief. They couldn't forget that this was Alfred they were dealing with. Assuming they were safe would be a dangerous mistake. Carefully lifting up the detonator, Kano spotted another cable connected to the bomb. As calmly as he could, he tried to remove the plastic explosive from the attaché case. Oh, it's on a timer no matter what. He quickly discovered that the thinly stretched sheet of plastic explosive was only an intermediate layer, concealing a second false bottom. A small timer had been set beneath it. There's not just the sound trigger. Kano's mouth had gone dry. His voice came out as a whisper. The bomb was also been fitted with a countdown timer. Stanley had been right on the mark. The ringtone of Hitomi's cell phone would trigger the explosion. That way Alfred could eliminate both her and her stooge, Palmer, at the same time. But just in case the sound trigger were discovered, as a backup, the bomb also had been rigged to explode after a set time. Kano speed dialed his boss. Director Kuze, where is that bomb squad? 151, 150. Not even 2 minutes left to go. It didn't look like the explosive ordnance unit would make it in time. Kano scanned the area, weighing his options. He noticed Achi standing right beside the bomb case. Achi, he called out, leave that thing and get out of here. But Achi didn't move. He might know how to defuse it. No way. He sat down, the attaché case cradled in his arms. Achi, what the hell are you doing? I'm not going anywhere until everyone's made it to safety. Detective, you need to get these people someplace right away. Clear the area first, then I'll go. But there's no way I can do that. Damn it, don't you want to save these people too? Kano bit his lower lip in frustration. Achi was right. If the bomb went off amidst a crowd like this, there was no telling how many casualties there'd be. He needed to do whatever he could as quickly as possible. Get back, everyone! Back! Achi shouted at the top of his lungs. There's a bomb! Everyone get out of here! Just run! Following his lead, Kano started directing nearby civilians to safety. Hitomi's assuming the others added their voices to his. There's a bomb! Everybody run! Get away as fast as you can! Please, you have to get out of here! But the crowd wasn't listening to their warnings. On the contrary, some people hurried closer to see what all the commotion was about. It was no use. They were out of time. Kano had to save Achi at least. He turned back to him and called out, Achi, that's enough. Leave the bomb and let's go. Achi! Hitomi shouted. Come on! But Achi only tightened to clutch the bomb more tightly. What are you doing? Kano screamed. What are you doing? Kano screamed. Come with us! Hurry! Oh, I feel like we're gonna hit a keep out real soon. Still, Achi would not move. Suzumi's face went pale. Wait, Achi, your leg! What about my leg? Earlier when you kicked that steel pipe. The heck? Finally Kano understood. It wasn't that Achi didn't want to move. He couldn't move. So he decided to get all heroic and use himself as a human shield to minimize the impact of the explosion over everyone else. That idiot, Kano muttered. If his leg was busted, then why didn't he say so? How did he even make it this far? There couldn't be much time left. If Kano rushed to help him now, he might not make it to safety before the bomb went off. Oh wait, we're playing Kano right now, by the way, so... As much as... So I don't know if we're gonna hit a keep out for Kano. He had to make a decision. He couldn't rush in without a plan. He ran in... By the way, where is Achi's story? Achi's story's all the way back here still. XD. He couldn't just rush in without a plan. Kano ran for Achi anyway. He couldn't just abandon him. Oh... We run for him. Kano ran for Achi anyways. He couldn't just abandon him. Achi was being an idiot. He wanted to sacrifice himself for the greater good, but Kano wasn't gonna let him do that. To have someone else be your shield, to have them up and give their life for yours, Achi had no idea how hard that would be on the people he left behind, even if it did save their lives. And until he was capable of comprehending that, Kano wasn't just gonna let this kid die. He reached Achi in a matter of moments and grabbed him by the shoulder, hard. The case, now. But Achi reflexively hunched it lower. What the hell are you doing, man? Why'd you come back here? Just come with me, we have to get out of here. Look, you need to run. I can't move. You've gotta be kidding me. Kano squatted down and looked Achi right in the eye. Okay, you can't move on your own, so I'm gonna help you move, and unless you want me to kill you too, you'd better cooperate. Damn it, don't be a fool, man. The strength ebbed from Achi's hands. Wasting no time, Kano pulled the case away, then slipped an arm around Achi's side. Their legs got entangled as Kano dragged Achi to his feet. Come on, run! The detective shouted when they were upright at last. They needed to get as far away as possible in the few seconds they had left. Kano didn't know how big the explosion was going to be. Palmer had said it would be enough to blow the whole area to smithereens. And there'd been a true terror in his voice when he said it. They just needed to keep moving. Keep running as fast as their legs would take them. Achi! Tommy shrieked. I'm getting sick of reading different dialogues for how to basically describe that, you know, they got boomed. So okay, I would probably expect that the bad ending, or the what do you call it? The fix to this probably lies in Achi's story, because Achi's still very behind. So let's catch Achi up a little, because it's not as if any of the other characters really have a jump. That Tateno's bad ending is fixed by breaking out Stanley, and right, if we keep playing Stanley again right now, we're gonna hit a keep out. So we need to probably catch Achi up to the present, I think. Or we need, like, Achi and not Alfred. Achi, I think it's really important for Achi and Kano to stay at the same spot in the story. Like, we can't progress Tateno or Jack particularly until we have Achi and Kano at the same spot at least. Achi would have charged off in pursuit as well, but his wounded leg made that impossible. Get him, detective, he murmured under his breath. We're counting on you. Okay, Achi has a keep out. That's productive though. It didn't lead us to his bad ending, because we do have another character who can break out Achi's keep out, I think. It might have just straight up been Kano? I think this is a different jump. This goes to 1905. Ah! Well, I think actually this might break the keep out, but then we're gonna be spamming through a couple of things we already know about. No, that doesn't break that keep out in particular. Okay. Stanley had to jump to Achi, right? Right, because he's gonna try and call Achi on the phone. Right. Okay. We need to get to that point again, though, because we did lose that progress after... Although once we remake this choice, it should fill out itself. To act as a decoy, Stanley was surely that was the imposter's purpose, but it wouldn't be simple purpose. Okay, a matter of fact, a distraction. Wait, oh. There's no place where we can jump to Achi. I thought there was. There was an Achi jump spot that we had found, but we couldn't actually make the jump yet. Wasn't there not? The Tenno jumps the Kano. Can we make this jump to Kano yet? Oh yeah, that broke the happy ending Kano jump. So... What's this jump? We already broke Stanley's keep out. What if we choose try anything funny and you'll regret it? Try anything funny and I'll make sure you regret it. Round and round this time chart goes. Where the breakout is, nobody knows. This is true. This is true. And oh, I am suffering many woes right now because I cannot figure how to break this cycle of hoes. Okay, I can't rhyme anymore. But anyways, how's it going, Sam? How you doing today? Try anything. You can't shoot me. Kanan took another step closer. You still traumatized from that. Oh fuck! It's still this. Okay. There are no hit. Ree! What if we just let Kanan go into the lab? What if it's this choice? What if we just don't confront her at all? Omega lol? What was the right call? Should he still pretend to be in the dark and let Kanan try to hack the password? It's going well, glad to hear it. Glad to hear you're doing well. I'm doing alright myself, rather tired. Came home today, very pooped from work. Because after work as well, I went to get a little consultation for my next tattoo that I'll be getting next week. But holy moly, that was not good because then I hit peak rush hour in New York, trying to get home like 6:15, 6:30ish. Holy shit, the subway is packed, and my feet hurt so much that I just wanted to like sit down. But like, right, it was packed. So, but exciting. Yes, I'm very, very excited. I'll post pictures to Discord when I get it. But yeah, that was fun, something fun during the day. But yeah, I'm pretty exhausted. I am ready for a weekend. Traffic is torture. This is true. It was crowded, and there was like one baby who like, oh, would not stop screaming. And it's funny because like they're at the age, and you can see it in a baby's face when they're screaming for like just for attention. They're not like, because like, you know, a lot of the time with like young babies, like really young babies, like they only cry when they're really upset and fussy. But this baby was probably, I don't know, looked like they were about a year old, and you could see they were like crying with no tears and like eyes weren't wet. They were just screaming for attention, and then they'd stop and like look around randomly for like 10-15 seconds and then go back to screaming. And I'm like, bruh, I know you're a baby, but please stop screaming on a train that's already packed like sardines on a Tuesday in New York. Everyone tired. But yeah, babies, man, am I right? He was going to have to let her go into the lab. Let's see if this let's see. I honestly feel like maybe avoiding confrontation will save Tateno's life. He's going to have to let her into the lab. Tateno made up his mind. Is something the matter? Osawa asked warily. No, it's nothing. Then if you'd be so kind, Osawa led the way. Kanan and Tateno followed him towards the storage facility. Oof, I know, right? But, you know... They get a pass because, you know, they're a baby and they don't know better, but also at the same time, yo, kiddo, everyone on this train has probably also had a long day. And what did you do? You sat in a stroller and you're screaming for what? Me, literally telling a baby, yeah, what's wrong with you? XD, it's a baby. But yeah, parents honestly are superheroes. I don't know how to deal with it. It took about 20 seconds for the elevator to reach the first basement level. The biohazard storage area was evidently fairly deep underground. The doors opened to reveal a long, straight corridor. There was a door to at the far end with a device at one side for checking IDs. Kanan approached the device, setting the laptop she'd borrowed from the security room on the floor in front of it. Osawa's password written on it to one side of the monitor. Then she connected a series of cables to both the laptop and the device. Tateno kept his hand on his holster as he watched her work. Kanan began to slowly tap away at the keyboard. Does this mean other characters' like ends are screwed now? Because oh, okay, everything is still okay. Kanan began to slowly tap away at the keyboard. Her screen displayed a series of numeric values that changed with each keystroke. She checked the changes carefully, timed the movements of her fingers according to some formula. The device let out a warning beep, then the display lit up. Incorrect password. The input had been rejected. Was this really going to work? Tateno felt his impatience growing. Osawa's face showed a similar unease. Kanan turned to look at them. How many failed attempts are we allowed? 2, I believe, Osawa answered. After a third failed attempt, the storage area is locked down and can't be reopened without input from the full board of directors. Kanan had to resume typing before he finished speaking. There's a very slight difference in power consumption of the device when it presses the correct password compared to an incorrect one. There's a minuscule difference in the time it takes to run the process as well. I can analyze those and compare them. Kanan's voice trailed off. She continued working. Whose turn to die? Yours. I've already died several times this stream. Thank you very much.
Also, hello, Immortal Code. How you doing today?
Parents are heroes, truly. They truly. I don't know how my parents put up with me. I was a wild child. There was another warning sound. A second failed attempt. A single bead of sweat ran down Tatheno's forehead. But Kanan didn't so much as bat an eyelash. I see. Her face remained full of confidence. It won't be a problem, she assured them. This isn't my first time with this type of mechanism. Slowly, one at a time, Kanan pressed key after key while keeping her eyes on the laptop screen. With each keystroke, a waveform at the top of the screen, looking almost like an echocardiogram readout, wobbled slightly. A readout, not read out. The laptop let out a tiny sound. A sequence of 10 characters appeared on the screen and Kanan read them off. Tatheno jotted them down in his notebook, then headed over to the scanner to enter the twin passwords for Osawa and Tanaka. Uh-oh. The door opened. Oh, okay. Kanan let out a sigh of relief. Osawa gathered up Maria and headed into the storage area. Get out. As soon as Osawa and his daughter were out of view, Tatheno drew his pistol. Kanan arched an eyebrow. What do you think you're doing? Just get out of here. Tatheno pointed the barrel of his gun at Kanan's face. Silently, she did as she was told, turning and walking towards the elevator. He followed a few paces behind. She gave no hint of resistance. Now Tatheno needed to let Stanley know that they'd successfully opened the laboratory door. He pulled out his cell phone as he followed her into the elevator. Does he even have cell reception? As soon as he did, Kanan pressed herself flush against the wall. A sudden explosion from within the corridor sent Tatheno careening off balance. He slammed into the elevator wall. Then, as he lay in a daze, the elevator doors drew slowly closed and the cab began to rise upward. Tatheno could tell that the impact had broken several of his ribs. Blood rose up from his throat and filled the inside of his mouth. Bruh! He felt his grip on consciousness fading, but he managed to flip open his cell phone. Stanley, please, pick up. He jabbed his thumb hard on the call button. Stanley here, what's going on? Hey, has something happened? Hey, answer me. Oh my god. But it was too late. Bruh! For Tatheno even to hear Stanley's voice. Bad, and holy shit. I'm honestly starting to get tilted by how many bad ends we're getting. And like, a wordless warning. I don't even know if it's like a bad end we can avoid particularly. A lot of these bad ends seem like things that have to happen unless you know a walkthrough. It's like moderately tilting. I guess we have to keep her here, honestly. What happens? Did we make this jump to Stanley? Oh, I just opened the Steam overlay by accident. Did we make this? We must have. This is an old decision. Okay, so it looks like we don't hit a bad ending here, though, because of now that we've found the fact that there is a bomb at all. Now that we know the fact that there is a bomb, we can actually possibly play this part a little forward. As he pulled out his phone again, he recalled the map. Okay, we already read this. Yeah, we can't skip forward, so there's new stuff here at some point. Doing well. We'll say I'll be in lurk mode for the most part since I'm playing something at the moment. No worries at all. How are you? I'm alright. A little tired. It's already been kind of a long week, honestly. I had work the last 3 days. It's just been a lot of work to do, so I'm very tired. But happens. Pretty excited for the weekend. But otherwise, I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. Stanley dialed Achi's Sendo's number. Okay. So Achi is gonna answer this time, I think. Achi was quick to pick up. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Oh, Kano is so cute with his big smile. Eventually, Achi spotted Kano on the far edge of the crowd. The detective pumped his fists in victory. It looked like he got an offer to cough up the password. Password? Yeah, because, I mean, the Kano, Maria will get in no matter what, because Kano gets the password, right? So we don't need Kanan to do it. Finally, some really good news. Now Hitomi and Maria were both safe. A surge of relief ran through Achi's body. Unexpectedly, his cell phone rang. It was Stanley. Mr. Stanley, what's going on? How did the negotiations go? Achi quickly filled him in on the good news. Detective caught Alfred. He got him to give up the password, and I think he's called the folks at the lab. Does that mean the case is closed, then? No, not yet. Right now, I need you to do exactly as I tell you. For a moment, Achi's head swam. This isn't over yet? Why, what's going on? You want to save Hitomi, then shut up and listen, Stanley barked. Alright, tell me what to do. First, you need to power down Hitomi's cell phone. Turn off her phone? What for? Is Stanley serious or just messing with him? I'm pretty sure there's a bomb somewhere near your location. A bomb? Achi's voice squeaked into a falsetto. A bomb? The guy Kano just apprehended as a decoy. The real Alfred is planning to eliminate Hitomi and the false Alfred at the same time. Eliminate both Hitomi and his own decoy? Why would he do that? And if the guy they just captured was a fake, then who was the real Alfred? He couldn't wrap his head around it. The more he tried, the more his thoughts became a jumbled mess. Listen, first turn off that cell phone. Then go and look for the bomb. Okay, got it. Right now, he just needed to do what Stanley told him to do. He didn't have time to make sense of the situation. Hanging up, he called out for Hitomi. Hitomi, you have to turn off your cell phone. She stared back at him, too confused to act. Look, just hurry and do it. Right, okay. Pulling her phone from her pocket, she switched the power off. Then Achi turned in Kano's direction. Detective! He shouted. Kano was looking towards him, seemingly already aware that something was amiss. Detective, that's not the real Alfred. He's a fake. A fake. A phony. Kano looked understandably shocked. Yeah, I just got a call from Stanley. He said the real Alfred is planning to get rid of both Hitomi and the fake with some kind of bomb. Kano hurriedly turned back to the fake Alfred and began a fresh barrage of questions. Meanwhile, Achi's mind was racing again. If the bomb was meant to wipe out both Hitomi and the imposter, it would have to be pretty powerful. So it couldn't be anything particularly small. Where could the bomb be hidden then? Achi scanned the area, but didn't spot any place that seemed plausible. Then his eyes happened to alight on the attaché case the decoy had discarded. Could it be? No sooner had his suspicions been aroused than he heard Kano call out to him. Achi, check the case! He hurriedly opened up the attaché case and searched the interior. The only things inside were pieces of medical equipment, tubes and syringes, and the like. There was nothing that looked remotely like a bomb. Still, where else could the bomb possibly be hidden? Damn it! He had to find the explosive, and soon. He took another hard look at the case. I'll shake it. I'll flip it over. I'll smash it apart. Flip it over. We already know the answer to this one, because we played Kano. Achi lifted the attaché case high and flipped it upside down. But as he was about to throw, he heard a faint metallic sound. Quickly, he lowered the case again. He was certain the noise had come from inside. Once more, he opened the case and looked inside. But still, he saw nothing of note. He tossed the medical equipment aside and slowly tilted the case from side to side. Although it looked empty, there was a distinct sound of something metal sliding back and forth. How long could it be? Achi tugged at the case's inner lining, quickly tearing it free. When he looked behind it, his eyes went wide. A thin layer of something that resembled a white clay had been affixed inside the cover of the case. Several wires connected it to a small electronic device. This was it. The bomb really was inside the attaché case. Here it is, he shouted to Kano. Oh, here it is, he shouted to Kano. I found it. Kano hurried over, bringing his captive with him. There, Mr. Palmer, take a look. When he saw what was inside the attaché case, the fake Alfred went pale. No, it can't be. Alfred, why? His voice was hoarse with betrayal. Then he abruptly broke into stilted laughter. Can we skip this because we already read it in Kano's lines? I'm just gonna not read these because, again, we've already gone through it before. And it went right under my nose, blah blah blah. The fake Alfred, Palmer, looked over at Kano. We need to get out of here. Okay, we already read this. Achi pictured Shibuya reduced to a blasted ruin. A microphone, Kano muttered. Hey, detective, is that thing gonna explode or not? I'm just gonna skip what we already kind of read before. That's not just a sound trigger. The detective's voice was a raspy whisper. The bomb had also been fitted with a countdown timer. Achi could see the timer now. It had been planted underneath the plastic explosive. His blood ran cold. Dr. Kuze, where is that bomb squad? While Kano made a desperate call to the police, Achi picked up the attaché case and peered inside. The digital timer was steadily ticking down the seconds. Achi scanned the nearby area. There were way too many people around the scramble. Hitomi was there. Susumu was there. Several more of his old pals. Along with a bunch of innocent bystanders. The people are the lifeblood, Achi reminded himself. The blood that coursed through the body that was the city. Like cells, they brought to life the city he so loved. And Achi wanted to be one of the red, or was it white? Cells of Shibuya. Achi Kano called out, leave that thing and get out of here. No way. Achi sat down, cradling the case in his arms. Achi, what the hell are you doing? I'm not going anywhere until everyone's made it to safety. Detective, you need to get these people someplace safe right away. Clear the area first, then I'll go. But there's no way I can do that. Damn it, don't you want to save these people? Achi snapped. Kano bit his lower lip. Hitomi wrapped her arms around Achi from behind. Achi, don't do this. Hitomi, you need to get out of here too. Why? Why are you acting so crazy? Tears blurred her words, and he could feel her trembling against him. Aw, it doesn't matter. Just get as far away as you can. No, I'm not leaving you. After the day they'd spent together, Achi knew full well that telling Hitomi something once wasn't enough to get her to listen. That stubbornness was one of the many things that had made her so amazing in his eyes. Hitomi. Achi clasped one of her hands tightly. Please. This is the one favor I will ever ask of you. His voice came out oddly soft and gentle. Alright, she told him. But let me just say one thing first. There are still so many things I want to talk to you about. So much more that I want to know about you. Oh. So please, Achi, don't you die on me. Okay, don't worry. Once everyone has made it safety, I'll clear out of here right away. He firmly squeezed his hand, then got up and silently hurried away. Susumu, you and SOS start getting people out of the area. Yeah, alright, Susumu turned away. Oops. And for an instant, Achi's eyes met Kano's. Achi gave a tiny nod and looked down at the timer. Get back, Achi shouted at the top of his lungs. Everybody get back! There's a bomb! He held the attaché case tight against himself as he continued shouting. He ran his voice raw, trying to warn the crowd away. Everyone get out of here, just run! Following his lead, Kano started directing nearby civilians to safety. At last, apparently deciding that time was up, Kano turned back to Achi. Achi, that's enough. Leave the bomb and let's go. He could hear Susumu Hitomi shouting as well. There's no time left, man! Achi, come on. The way Palmer had talked about this bomb, it sounded like it was a pretty dangerous one. It might be powerful enough to blow up the entire intersection. And there were still so many people nearby. There was no chance they'd be able to get to safety in the few dozen seconds that remained. Achi needed as much time needed to minimize the force of the blast as much as possible. The question, guys, here. Hey, Snow, what's good? What questions do you have for us today? How you doing, though, homie? That's my question for you. Come with us, hurry! Screamed Kano. Does Kano have a keep out, or I forget? Kano has a bad end. Okay, so let's not worry about this. Switch to Kano first. Honestly, I think we need Achi to break his bad end anyways. Please, God. Please, I don't know how powerful this bomb is, but please, God, let my body be enough to protect the people of Shibuya. And to protect Hitomi. Achi squeezed his eyes tightly shut. I'm sorry, Susune. Looks like I won't be able to keep visiting you in the hospital anymore. You'll forgive me though, right? I stuck it through the end, just like you told me to. Didn't call it quits partway through. And so whatever you do, you can't let that disease beat you. Don't you dare let it beat you. Achi drew a deep breath as he finished his solitary little prayer. He couldn't have more than a few seconds left to go. A firm hand grabbed hold of Achi's shoulder. Let go of the case. Now. It was Kano. What the hell you doing, man? Why'd you come back here? Just come with me. We have to get out of here. We've already read this, so we're gonna skip it.
Well, very good. Glad to hear it.
You guys, I'm doing alright myself. A little tired, but you know, we're doing alright. Achi redemption arc. I mean, I don't think Achi ever needed a redemption arc. It's not like he was a bad character. He's just dumb. He's mad stupid, bro. He clenched his jaw in frustration. It was all too crazy for him to think straight. They shouldn't even be having this argument with the bomb could explode at any moment. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Kano growled in frustration. Okay, you can't move on your own, so I'm gonna help you move, and unless you want to kill me, too, you better cooperate. They didn't have much time left. Damn it, don't be a fool, man. Achi couldn't help but curse. A sharp pain shot through his limp right leg as he lurched to his feet. Kano shouted in his ear. Come on, run! Achi didn't have the luxury of thinking anymore. He just had to move his feet. Somebody cried out from across the scramble. Achi! As the explosion tore through him, he was glad that her voice was the last thing in this world he'd ever hear. And that was Achi's final thought. My god, like I said, I'm actually honestly starting to get mildly annoyed by how often the bomb explodes. It's really ruining the ending of the game for me, to be totally frank. again, not because, like, I feel... I'm fine with bad endings, right? And I'm fine with the ending being drawn out, but what I don't appreciate is that we are consistently hitting the same bad ending. So it doesn't feel like we're going anywhere, right? Even throughout the game, when we made 3 different choices, or there was like 3 different choices, right? And 2 of them led to bad ends. Those 2 bad ends were different, right? But all the choices we make here, if it's Kano or Achi, it leads to them dying. If it's Sateno, it leads to him getting shot. And if it's Stanley, like, I guess Stanley hasn't really encountered a lot of bad ends, so he's pretty lucky, but like, I'm pretty damn sick of encountering the same explosion 13 different times. And like, what was that? That was bad end number... I just want to double check. Like, look at this shit. Genuinely, like, bad end number 72, bad end number 65, 67, 69, nice. 71, like, they all lead to the exact same bomb, and that's getting really frustrating, honestly. As well as, like, there's just, I mean, this is also the same bad ending, right? Bomb goes off. It's just worded differently, with a different screen cap. But the fact that there's 5 different bad endings with the exact same screen cap is really annoying. But, like, look, like, bad ending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that just results in Kano and Achi getting blown up. I'm getting quite sick of it. And, like, I consider myself average intelligence. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other players who've been able to solve all this without encountering as many of the bad endings that I've already had. But I'm also pretty sure there's players who have encountered probably every bad ending for the end here. And it's quite frustrating, honestly. If we're gonna get a bad ending, can it be different? Like, I don't know, Kano trips down some stairs trying to chase Palmer or some shit, you know? Some other foreign goon sticks his leg out and trips Kano, and Kano falls and snaps his neck. Like, can we get that ending, honestly, instead of just the exact same bomb going off 13 different times? On the bright side, at least, though, every time the bomb explodes, the bad end is really fast, because some of the other bad ends could be very drawn out. I truly don't think this really fixes either of their arcs, right? We need to find a way to stop the bomb from going off altogether. Maybe let's try making this choice again. Let's not rush without a plan. He couldn't just rush in without a plan. The detective needed both a cool mind and a fiery spirit. And the more heated the situation was, the more he needed to stay cool. He could feel the muscles in his leg begin to stiffen. He did his best to slow his racing heartbeat as his mind sought desperately for a way out of this situation. But his eyes remained fixed on Achi, holding that bomb in his arms. Knowing that it could explode at any moment made it almost impossible to think. The harder he tried to calm himself, the more his panic grew. He cursed himself for not leaping into action immediately. He should have acted before thinking. That was the only thing he was good at. And he stood frozen, staring at Achi. Yeah, the bomb's going off. Then he felt his hairs rise up on the back of his neck. White smoke was pouring from an approaching minivan. The vehicle teetered to a stop along the shoulder of the road. Still the smoke spilled out, roiling from a partly open window. Is this the police or something? Like, this has to be a friendly force, right? Kano could feel the strange chill in the air. Is that... Instinctively, he rushed toward the car. Is it Kajiwara driving the same car? And... Oh, they brought, nitrogen to cool the bomb. Dry ice maker, yeah. Peering through the minivan's windows, he saw a clunky, box-shaped device in the back. It was rumbling fiercely, spitting out an unending amount of white clumps. Try ice machine. Hey, Kano yelled, banging on the door. Open up! By freezing a bomb that used an electronic activation trigger, it was possible to kill the battery cell and deactivate the detonator, yeah. The explosive ordnance unit used liquid nitrogen, but maybe dry ice could work as well. There were 3 men inside the van. Kano shouted at the one in the driver's seat. I need to borrow that machine. Huh? Oh, the man replied in a lethargic drawl. This is the troop, the acting troupe, the improv troupe. No way, man, we haven't paid this thing off yet. There was no time to explain or negotiate. Kano was just gonna have to take it by force. Yunakawa, what? Hold it right there! Another man appeared suddenly in front of the vehicle. The pushy fellow Kano ran into at the scene of the explosion. Lurk, hello, Haley Angel. I remember you did tell me because you came by on the stream on Saturday and told me that you're Arson Ashley. But thank you for the lurk. Hope all is well today and you're enjoying your Tuesday, or I guess bumfuck o'clock Wednesday, depending if you live in Europe, or actually no, pretty morning, like mid-morning if you live in Asia. But hope all is well. I did, yeah, don't worry about it though. Appreciate the double heads up, just in case. I mean, I bopped my head pretty hard by accident at work, so who knows, I could have forgotten. But hope you're doing well today. You guys are with that Wandering Angels Theater troupe, yeah? He said to the van's occupants. He pointed at the dry ice machine. The thing's defective. The guy from the electronics store said he would refund your deposit. Huh, for real? Someone gonna bumfuck me? Can I refuse? And this dude said, you know, they're gonna bumfuck, they're gonna ask first. They're gonna ask permission. If you say no, you know, they will kindly back off. You know? No means no. Yeah, he told me to tell you that the machine has been recalled. We'll bring it back for you, so hurry up and open the door. Yeah, okay. The newcomer helped the 3 men unload the dry ice machine from the minivan, then he turned to Kano. Here. Hurry up and take it, he shouted. Right, thanks. Kano wasn't sure what was going on, but he took the machine and ran, pushing it ahead of him across the pavement. Achi, he told me, wailed, tears in her eyes. The detective blew right past her, trailing a billowing plume of white smoke in his wake. Please let me make it in time. Please, please, please let me make it in time. Please let me make it in time. Kano let loose a wild yell. He ran as fast as his legs would take him toward Achi and the bomb. What? We're still getting to be continued? Wild. I mean, maybe this is because Achi and Kano's stories are basically synonymous at this point, right? So... But why didn't it just hit end? Is this what the post-game content you were talking about, Life Iris, is? Lark, hello honey badger, thank you for the lark, hope you're doing well today. I presume you're going to be off to bed now because you live in a country right now where it is bumfuck o'clock, so please have a lovely evening and sleep well. It's not, we are calling towards the end, one bed at a time. Honestly, hydrate, oh. The postgame comes after the credits, if I recall correctly. Well, I wonder if the postgame... Well, it's not about Kano, though, is what I'm asking, basically, because it feels like Kano's story is kind of at an end because it's like a perfect overlap, honestly, with Achi's. Saw you live, so I want to say hi. I appreciate it. I always appreciate people popping in to say hi. But please go to sleep now. It's too early. It's very late at night, so please get some rest. But yeah, I mean, I'll talk about this again later, but the one bad end at a time, that, oh, it's triggering. I'm quite tilted and frustrated. Again, it's not that, like, in the past, getting bad ends has never bothered me in the history of playing this game, right? I sometimes consciously make bad choices because I'm curious what the bad end is, right? But when we consistently hit the same bad end, I don't feel as if I'm getting anything new out of it. I truly don't. And, like... A lot of these things, of course I'm learning from every bad end, and like I always say with anything I do in a game, anything I gotta grind, like, this is kind of grindy now. I just hope I learn something from every time I die or have to, like, respawn, right? And I am learning something, but it's just so frustrating that I keep getting to the exact same bad end, no matter what route I take. Again, I would prefer if we hit some unique bad ends at this point, right? And it just feels oversaturated right now, of course, too, because Tateno's hitting his own bad ends, right? But Achi and Kano are consistently hitting the same bad end, right? If Achi and Kano were maybe, again, having different bad ends, like Achi dies in the bomb, but Kano slips or gets tripped and, like, breaks the neck or something, that would be more interesting to me. But, like, especially since, like, this doesn't feel as if this doesn't feel like an experience that should feel grindy in its nature. I'm getting pretty annoyed by how grindy it is. Okay, we already read this, so I'm just gonna keep going through. I'm in a bumfuck country. Bumfuck is the main word in my vocabulary. So if I don't feel anything is interesting, I should just break my neck. No, we're not. I didn't say you should break your neck. I said Kano should slip and fall and break his neck. You're not Kano. Or are you? Can I have your autograph? You're kind of, like, kind of cute, but kind of dumb, too. I hope you're not Kano. It was Hitomi. He was glad that her voice was the last thing in his world he'd ever hear. Or so he thought. It's Kano. Achi, bring the bomb over here! That wasn't Hitomi's voice. Achi opened his eyes and saw Kano racing toward him, pushing some big weird piece of machinery. The detective flipped open the machine's cover to reveal a huge mound of dry ice. There are like 85 bad ends, and I think your playthrough we haven't hit half, which is pretty solid. No, I'm not. I get that. And like I said, like I was saying earlier, I'm not sure if you were here for this, but I was like, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of players who, like, I feel like I'm fairly average for a player, right? There are probably people who have finished this game with like a third of the bad endings that I've hit, for sure. You know, they just pick, they probably just see the picture better and pick better choices, so they get fewer bad ends. There's also probably plenty of players who hit more bad ends than I have. Maybe, like, twice as many, right? And, like, I'm not necessarily talking about the number of bad ends, but, like, it's frustrated that the total number of bad ends is so saturated with the exact same goddamn bad end. I think you did really well with the last couple chapters in not bumping into too many bad ends. This one is just tricky, unlucky. Again, something that's kind of frustrating as well is, like, every time I get a bad end at this part of the game, right? It feels, again, I learn something from every time I die, right? So that is true, but the problem is, I'm only learning by process of elimination, which is also frustrating. I'm not learning any core different, like, skills, honestly. Because this is not really a skill-based game, right? So, like, if it's not A, then it has to be C. And if it's not C, then it has to be D. There's only so many different, like, butterfly, like, effect choices that you can really make. Which is, again, why grinding feels most frustrating, because I'm just grinding until I find the right option at some point, honestly. Because some of these choices, I almost feel as if, like, they feel somewhat coin flippy, unless you already know what the other option's bad end, what the other option leads to, and you know that the other option's a bad end. Or either way, you just know what the other option entails, right? Like, for example, the Tateno choice, like, I was like, oh wait, what if we just let them go into the lab? Will that change anything? And if that had, like, I don't even know if I'd be more or less, like, I would have, again, I don't even know if I would have found that, like, a more or less frustrating. I mean, I think I would have been more. I think the Tateno choice was the most interesting so far, about if to let Kanan go in the lab or not, because that has, like, actually had, like, a bit more of a branching consequence, right? And I'm getting unique bad endings based on the two choices I make, right? But this Kano Achi nonsense that just keeps going back and back and back to the exact same bomb exploding. And, like, I understand that, like, the reason that it is happening is because narratively that is their central conflict right now, right? And, like, that's basically, again, the only bad choice they could make, right? The bomb going off. Or letting the bomb go off. But Tateno has, like, a very much bigger web of bad choices that he could make and die. And, like, that's definitely reflecting in the bad endings we're getting, but it's... like, just personally, from, like a how I feel perspective, Achi and Kano's, like, ending so far, right, the 16 to 18, the 18 to 20 o'clock hour right now, is really ruining their stories for me. Truly it's ruining it for me. I'm actually very much enjoying Tateno and Stanley's stories a lot, because they feel more interesting. But I just feel like I'm brute forcing my way right now through Achi and Kano. And not just brute forcing it through, but again, I brute force it, get a wrong choice, I see the exact same ending I've seen 7 times. I'm getting bored of it. Achi did as he was told, shoving the attaché case into the dry ice. Kano helped him... that was a noise. Kano helped him pile more dry ice on top of it. Let's hope that's enough, Kano exclaimed. He looked like a man desperate for a miracle. They could see the timer display through a gap in the frozen hydrogen, still counting down. Finally, like, again, again, in the, like I said earlier, I don't know if you were here for this part, but Life Iris, it's not the pure fact that we get a bad ending. I enjoyed most of the bad endings in this game. I really did. And, like, there were times where I literally made what I knew was a bad choice because I wanted to see what bad ending I might get from it. I thought that shit was great. A lot of the bad endings were enjoyable and interesting, and, like, pretty funny. But I'm getting tilted at getting so many bad endings here because the bad endings are the same, right? 50% of them are just dying to an explosion. To be continued. Okay. Can we do anything with Tateno and Stanley, though? Oh, we need to finish playing Stanley, right? Because I jumped to Achi specifically. Achi was quick to pick up. Mr. Stanley, what's going on? Not this again. Right, I forgot that this also had the jump back. But we needed to unlock the keep out part anyway. Ew, there's a fly on my wall. Get out of here. Oh, I didn't actually squish it. And can we get a quoted bumfuck is the main word in my vocabulary? Yes, we can. We should add that as a quote. I think we have a quote command, by the way. Don't let me be too late. Late? I just said it with a slight accent. He muttered to himself as he waited for the call to connect. Achi was quick to pick up. Mr. Stanley, what's going on? How did the negotiations go? The detective caught Alfred, Achi replied happily. He got him to give up his password, and I think he's called the folks at the lab. Does that mean the case is closed, then? No, not yet. I need you to do exactly as I tell you. Quote, oh, is it not work? Oh, wait, maybe Streamlabs is offline. I think there's actually a good chance Streamlabs is offline. Because I think it was a Streamlabs command, not Discord, not Nightbot. Unlucky. No, not yet. Right now I need you to do exactly as I tell you. There was a pause before Achi responded. Why? What's going on? If you want to say if you told me, then shut up and listen, Stanley snapped. Alright, tell me what to do. First, you need to power down Hitomi's cell phone. Turn off her phone? What for? I'm pretty sure there's a bomb. I'm gonna skip this as well, because we've read this a bunch of times. Stanley didn't have time to explain that Kanan was Alfred. Besides, it would only confuse the matter all the more at this point. Listen, Oh, listen. First, turn off that cell phone. Then go and look for the bomb. Got it. Achi hung up. Oh, and it's gonna come and see Tenno and Kanan having a shootout here. Hopefully the team at the scramble will be able to pull through. Now Stanley needed to focus on capturing Alfred. He tightened his grip on the steering wheel. His emotions were coming on far too strongly for him to keep them in check. In the back of his mind, Stanley thought about the last he'd ever seen of Frank. There had been nothing left of his brother but a bloodied hand reaching out from beneath the rubble. Even since that day, since that very moment, Jack Stanley had sworn vengeance upon Alfred. He would never forget the rage he felt at having what was left of his family taken from him. Hey Jack, once this is all tidied up, I'm gonna need a drink. Let's you and me have a beer together. Sure, you got it. You got it, kiddo. Stanley sprang into action, leading away the throng of panicked civilians. But all the while, he couldn't help but worry about Frank. We got almost 30 minutes left, he'll be fine. Backup will definitely be here in time. He did his utmost to reassure himself, but still, the doubts gnawed. When the bomb squad descended upon the area, clad in their protective gear, Stanley looked at his watch. Look at that suit. He felt the surge of relief. Only about 15 minutes had passed. There was still plenty of time for them to deactivate the bomb with their liquid nitrogen. Thank God, Frank's going to be alright. But he got no chance to relish that thought. There was an ear-splitting boom as a powerful shockwave shook the area. Stanley whirled back around, staring in horror at the place that his brother had been. Almost said bartender. Nothing remained but a mound of rubble. A later investigation revealed the timer's bomb exterior had been a mere ruse. The explosive never linked a timer at all. Instead, it had been detonated via remote control. Alfred had deceived them using a visible timer to lull them into a false sense of security. Stanley had managed to save many lives with that day, to be sure, but it had come at the cost of his own brother's life. Had he really made the best decisions he could have made? He was still asking himself the same questions over and over, even now. But no matter how much he blamed himself, it wouldn't bring Frank back. If there was one thing he could still do for his brother, it was getting revenge on Alfred with his own hands. Stanley had been in constant pursuit of Alfred ever since. He would stoop to any level for information without remorse. His opponent was someone who would do anything at all to achieve a goal. It only made sense for him to do the same. At some point, he stopped even hesitating to get his own hands dirty. He would charge headlong into any danger if he sensed Alfred's presence, even if his own life was a price he was willing to pay in the name of vengeance. He could never hope to latch his jaws onto his quarry's throat if he behaved like prey himself. Stanley, kind of a beast. He must be the greater predator. He would cast aside his humanity, would become a blood-stained beast if that improved his chance of the hunt. For the hunt was all that mattered. Pursuit of Alfred had become his only purpose. So it had been for the past 2 years now. Now those flashbacks... for the past 2 years. Now those years flashed through Stanley's mind in the blink of an eye. As he came back into the moment, he marveled at his own ferocity, and at the depth of the wound he had suffered. Arresting her isn't enough, I'll make her pay with her life. If I don't sink to her level, I'll never be able to beat her. If I do get my revenge, what would Frank think? I feel like we gotta not go the vengeful route. Pacifist run, remember? We are not vengeful. If I do get my revenge, what would Frank think? When Stanley pictured his younger brother, it wasn't with a smile on his face. The realization gave him a pause. In the end, killing Alfred wouldn't bring her brother back. But although he could see now that revenge was an absurd goal, his heart still churned deep and dark with resentment. The Okushi Pharmaceutical Lab finally came into view. A large billow of black smoke was rising from one of the building's windows. Stanley felt a chill in the pit of his stomach. He hopped out of the car, then gasped. Tateno. The detective was sprawled face down on the ground outside the laboratory gate, his gun still in hand. Blood had pooled around his head. He had been shot at close range. Death would have been instantaneous. All too late, Stanley felt the full weight of his mistake. Tenno had gone up against an opponent who was out of his league and gotten himself killed. And Stanley had put him up to it. He should never have let the Tenno try to handle the situation on his own. He should have done whatever it took to stop the detective. There must have been some way he could have averted this disaster. Saving Maria is your top priority, isn't it? That's right. There had been no hesitation in Tenno's words. Stanley had known how badly the man wanted to save Maria. That's why he deferred to the detective's judgment. Now he was faced with the results of his own naivete. The smoke pouring from the building showed no sign of diminishing. In all likelihood, the lab had been destroyed with a bomb. Alfred's plan had run its course before Stanley had even got there. He couldn't forgive himself for having been so thoroughly outwitted. Nor would he ever forgive Alfred for what the terrorist had done. Anger erupted inside him, raging like hellfire, driving him on to action. Death would be too kind of fate for Alfred. Now more than ever before, the thirst for vengeance consumed him. Oh! But even as he began to stalk towards the laboratory, a bullet caught Stanley in the abdomen. For a moment he couldn't process what happened. There was an intense, searing pain that began to spread through his gut. Warm liquid began to soak through his shirt. Then a figure emerged from within the smoke. I've been waiting for you to show up, Jack. Holy shit, another bullet tore through Stanley's body. Holy fuck. Time seemed to slow for him. He washed his brave blood, scattering like a crimson mist. Alfred! Stanley hissed the word through clenched teeth. Out of pure stubborn spite, he managed to stay on his feet, tottering toward his foe, raised his gun. He's gonna miss every fucking shot, isn't he? He didn't stop pulling the trigger, very hoping his world went dark. Insane. Defiant to the last. Interesting. No, I don't think that would change it. We already completed that. Ati and Kano are fine. Who's this jump to? Kano. And I think this is probably a jump to Ati. Yeah. And what about Stanley then? Is he on his way here? No, that decision's so far back. How do I prevent... So I think fixing... Oh, man, I'm not... Okay, let me think for a second, because we all know fixing Tateno's bad end I thought it was for Stanley to come help, but Stanley's too late no matter what. Can Stanley drive faster? Can we make him, like, I don't know, break some fucking speed limits? What's the warning again? Pow pow, motherfucker! Ah! Oh. Find some way to stall until I get there. Okay. If you realize we're on her, you're done for. Tateno hung up without saying anything. Wait, let's see if that, that did break some bad ends, so... I think either way, sending Kanan in is not the right answer, right? Because then we didn't have a choice in whether Tateno turns the gun on her or not. We can't choose for him to let her follow them into the bird. Unless that does open up a choice because Tateno is not right listening to Stanley, but about stalling. Let me play some of Kanan's story real quick. Or not Kanan, sorry, Tateno. Oh my god, what if we get to play as Kanan? That'd be wild. That would actually be insane. I'd lose my shit. Tateno said, try to think funny, I'll make sure you regret it. I don't want to pull this trigger, but I don't have to. Let's be the friendly one. So there is something different here, actually. It doesn't automatically point us down his bad ending. How do you know about that? Tateno was shaking now, his arm wavering. I heard you talking with the younger detective up on that roof. That was right. She had been there. Let's test my theory out. Kanan pointed her index finger at her own heart. You think I'm out for then shoot me right here, huh? The corner of her mouth twisted up. You can't do it, can you? His gun shook all the more. You're afraid to pull the trigger. It was as if her words were a spell that she was casting over him. You can hardly even stand the thought of pointing your gun at someone. Kotone's final moments flashed through Tateno's mind. Okay, so this is different. This is actually different. If he hadn't fired back then, maybe Kotone would still be alive. Your friend's entire life has changed because of you. Why hadn't he tried to talk the culprit down? He knew the reason why. Because he'd loved Kotone. He'd still loved her even after she'd become Daisuke's wife. His desire to be the one who saved her had warped his head of judgment when things had come down to the wire. Tateno? Do you not enjoy being with me? There was a forlorn look on Kotone's face. It wasn't that he didn't enjoy being with her. Her very presence soothed him. But the more serious the relationship had grown, the more it tore at Tateno's heart. The truth was that he didn't really know what happiness was, and he was so incapable of making someone else happy. If it were possible, he'd want Kotone to be smiling always, and that meant her being with someone other than him. I think it would be best if we stopped seeing each other. Tateno blurted out the words bluntly, and Kotone's face fell. He hadn't broken up with her because of any lack of feeling for her, rather the impulse that actually sprung out of his pursuit of human warmth, and his growing fear of losing it. He'd just been so uneasy. More than anything, he'd be afraid that he wanted too much love and affection from Kotone. See, Jack and Stanley's story is really fun right now because it feels a bit more like Shibuya Scramble like the gameplay up until now. Endlessly looping through the same explosion death. God, it's annoying. It's so grindy. Bit by bit, Tateno lowered his gun, hand ever more unsteady. Again, as well, I am aware that I think there's probably people that did this faster than me, and people who did it slower than me, and so maybe the grindiness of this game also probably felt harder, like when I say like, oh, this has felt like Shibuya Scramble gameplay up until now. Maybe other people would have obviously disagree because like Life Virus. I know, like you said, we've been doing pretty well and not hitting as many bad endings, but God, man, I think truly the ending will just feel more grindy no matter what, even if you hit every bad end in the game, just because you're grinding the exact same bad end. Bit by bit, Tateno lowered his gun, his hand ever more unsteady. His heart was on the cusp of breaking, and still Kanan continued with her diabolic whispering. You can go ahead and kill me, but if it turns out I'm not Alfred, what then? Now she stared at Tateno with an almost pitiable look. You'll have once more done something that you can never undo. Something I can never undo. Tateno repeated the words dully, feeling himself forced into a trance. That's right. Could you ever accept that? No, I couldn't make the same mistake. His whole body felt like it might fall apart. He wanted to drop to the ground and curl up in a ball like a child. And that's why you can't shoot anyone. I can't shoot anyone. As Tateno muttered the words, Kano's face appeared at the back of his mind. I can't. Tears fell from Kano's eyes as he looked down the barrel of his gun at Tateno. He'd become a detective who didn't lose sight of what he was supposed to protect, no matter the situation. Tateno had nearly forgotten. Nearly abandoned his inward promise to be a detective worthy of that final salute Kano had given him. He brought his gun back up to a bear. Don't be absurd, Kanan mocked. You can't shoot anyone. Actually, I can. The words creaked dryly from Tateno's throat. And there's something I'm supposed to protect? I can shoot. No cane, two-hand, bitch! Steady aim. The memory of Kano weeping but taking aim had given him the resolve he needed to face down an opponent who ought to have terrified him. I learned that from someone who is terrible at his job. Kanan's eyes went cold. Immediately she lifted her gun again. Once more their eyes locked, sparks of hostility crackling between them. What happened to stalling, yo? But almost immediately Tateno could sense the difference in skill between his opponent and himself. The young woman radiated deadly aura. The force of her stare was like a knife pressed to his throat. She had borne witness to carnage and bloodshed, the likes of which he couldn't even imagine. He couldn't win this. She would kill him, guaranteed. Tateno braced himself for death, never taking his eyes off Kano. If nothing else, he needed to buy time for Kano to get that password. But could he do that given the opponent he faced? Yes. Somehow he would do it. As a detective. As a man. Even if he had to give his own life to succeed. Stanley's gonna show up and fucking football tackle that bitch! Even if he couldn't come close to making up for the sins he had committed. Interesting. Oh! I was not expecting an end there. Interesting. End of his story. Well, I mean, the events of his story will definitely continue when Stanley shows up, though, right? So, we'll get to really see how this plays out. Finally, the Okoshi Pharmaceutical Laboratory came into view. There were two people standing outside the front gate. It was Tateno and the girl who was pretending to be Kanan. Each had a gun drawn on the other. Somehow Stanley had made it into it. He pulled up his car alongside them and reached down into the gun sleeve concealed beside his seat. He pulled out a .44 caliber Desert Eagle, one of the most powerful semi-automatic handguns in the world. His orders were to apprehend Alfred. The smaller Glock in his shoulder holster might be better suited to that. Even so, he opted for the Desert Eagle. The desert. Dessert sounds amazing. I want cake. Getting out of the car, he started pacing toward the young woman. Stanley. Tateno glanced over at him, his face pale. Stanley gave a silent nod and reply. He could see a hint of a smile on the girl's face. Probably a smile of overconfidence. Well, her brazenness would get her no further. I got in touch with the other, Stanley said. I told him to turn off Hitomi Ozawa's cell phone. He could see her eyes react. I imagine that by now they've also managed to deal with the bomb he planted in their decoy. The young woman remained silent. And of course, they managed to bypass the lock inside the lab. You know what this means? The little plan has failed. Completely. Stanley could see the girl's stare sharpen. He'd chase Alfred all around the world only to arrive here, at last, in this little island nation. It had been a long, long journey. He'd spent a long time suffering. Now, both the journey and the suffering would be over. Is she gonna shoot herself? We meet at last, Alfred. Oh. Oh, that's a great ending to his story, honestly. Such a good line. Oh! Oh, epilogue, they all branch in. That is great. I'm so satisfied. I am so fucking satisfied with the way Stanley's story ended. She felt a hand firmly clutching her own as she hastily returned to consciousness. Who dat? Kotone? This hand, whose is it? My father. It's Kotone! I was right? Or is it... Oh wait, no, it's Maria. It's fucking Maria. I'm actually dumb AF. I thought I was so smart for a second. Maria's eyelids slowly drifted open. Maria, you're alright now. Her father was indeed beside her, holding her hand. A surprising warmth radiated from his slender, bony palm. Dad? She was lying on a sofa. She craned her neck to look around. Still sure a process was going on. There were several monitors set up around the room. Where are we? At my laboratory. You were infected with the virus, but I've given you the antiviral. You don't have anything to worry about. He squeezed Maria's hand even more tightly. That hurts. Right, sorry. Osama eased up the pressure on his daughter's hand, but he didn't let go entirely. This feels so strange, Maria muttered, staring up at the ceiling. I wonder why. What does? Having you hold my hand. I used to hold your hand when we'd go on walks together when you were little. I doubt you'd remember that, though. Maria considered. It was true. She didn't have any clear memory of her father holding her hand like this, and yet the touch of her father's palm felt distantly familiar. Gently, she squeezed back. It's been a while, hasn't it? She said. I mean, me looking you in the eye while I'm talking to you? It's only because I didn't look you in the eye. Someone hung his head. I'm so sorry, he said. Please forgive me. I never meant to hurt you like I did. Hold on. Maria was taken aback. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean, hurt me? Back on that rainy day. Someone told Maria about the day she'd run away from home, about how he'd known where she'd gone, but hadn't gone to find her, and about how he'd given into his anger and struck her once she came home. When he finished, he hung his head one more. I'm so sorry, I've been such a terrible father. Maria cracked an impish smile. I guess that did happen. I saw her frowned. You know, I'd totally forgotten about that, until you mentioned it just now, I mean. I can't believe that, Osawa replied. The way I hurt you, He sounded so disappointed in himself. Dad, it's not like I can let myself dwell on each and every detail of my childhood. I mean, in the 19 or so years I've been alive, I've been hurt in lots of different ways. Child experience much more than what her parents knew. That was what growing up was all about. It was a happy thing, but also a little bit sad. Osawa was visibly grappling with his feelings. I see, he said. I guess you have gone through much pain. Well, yeah, but there have been more things that were fun and happy. I see. It's the sum of all those things that have made me who I am today. So please don't worry so much about the past. I see. Dad, you keep saying I see. Stop it. Sorry. This is also difficult to say. I was always trying and failing to hold back his tears. Maria wasn't quite sure what those tears were for, but she felt a prickle of embarrassment. Shyly, she looked away, and her eyes alighted on one of the monitors. The screen showed a view from outside the lab. Who are those people? She asked, pointing. Osawa looked, and his eyes widened in shock. 3 people with guns were facing off with one another. Maria recognized one of them. Tateno, the man with the cane. Why are those two pointing guns at your friend? Someone's voice was shaking. My friend? What do you mean? The one you met when we went to the Middle East. You know, Kanan. Saw switch the monitor to show a different camera angle. A close-up of the young woman's face appeared on screen. Maria was at a loss for words. That certainly wasn't Kanan. It was the girl who'd come to tell Maria that Hitomi was going to be kidnapped. Kanan's friend. Oh shit. It had happened 3 days earlier. While Maria was on her way home from campus, a girl approached her telling her she was a friend of Kanan. Kanan asked me to pass along a message, and then she showed Maria a video recording. The video quality was quite poor and the voice indistinct. There's a terrorist who was after the antiviral agent your father is developing. Maria listened in shock as the message continued. The terrorist's plan was already in motion, and Hitomi had been infected with a killer virus. Your father used the antiviral to save Hitomi. But the terrorist planned on that. I'll spare you the details, but there's a way to extract the antiviral from Hitomi's blood. Stealing the drug from the laboratory directly is too problematic. The terrorist intends to get it directly from your sister. Hitomi is certain to be kidnapped sometime in the next few days, and so I have something to ask of you. I'd like you to get kidnapped in her place. Since you're twins, it should be possible for you to trade places without kidnappers realizing it. I give the girl who's passing along this message a necklace outfitted with a small GPS beacon. Make sure you wear the necklace. Switch it on and it'll allow me to keep tabs on your location. I promise I'll come and rescue you. Please help me. It's the only way we can keep the antiviral and Hitomi safe. The video ended and the girl handed Maria a necklace with an ornate pendant and showed her the hidden switch on the back. Kanan's coming to Japan? Maria asked. She's already here. She's already ready to risk her life for this mission. Risk her life? Maria stared uneasily. So this terrorist who's after the antiviral drug thing. Is that Alfred? The girl looks shocked. You know about Alfred. Kanan told me about taking down Alfred as her purpose in life, but Alfred has ties to the CIA, so it's hard for Kanan to get any good leads. That's true. Which reminds me, you should have this. The girl held out a photograph. This man is dangerous. Stay away from him. He's an ally of Alfred. Maria did her best to burn the man's image into her mind. Alright, the girl said. I passed along everything Kanan wanted me to tell you. What you do next is up to you. So wait, what the heck has been going on while I've been asleep? Oswald recoiled from the ferocity on his daughter's face. That Kanan girl thought of a way to save you. He went on to explain the plan to get the antiviral out of the locked-down laboratory. Dad! Yay. That was such a cute moment between Osawa and Maria. Once again, Maria stared at the monitor, and she eyed Kanan's friend. Another memory from before she'd blacked out drifted to the surface. Suddenly it dawned on Maria that what this girl was planning. She pretended to be Kanan in order to get into the lab, she said, scowling at the image of the monitor. Osawa looked at the screen and then at his daughter's face. Well then, who in the world is she? Maria already had the answer. Alfred. There's no doubt about it. That girl was Alfred. The instant she realized this, she knew they were in danger. If Alfred managed to infiltrate the lab, there was no way she'd be satisfied with simply getting her hands on the antiviral. She saw ruin everywhere she went. Is something wrong? Osawa asked uneasily. Maria, what is it? Maria's mind was racing. She spoke her thoughts out loud. She's going to kill you so the drug can't be recreated. No, that's not thorough enough. She's going to destroy this whole facility. But how? Vague possibilities tumbled through her mind, but she couldn't be sure what the terrorists might be planning. She gritted her teeth in frustration. Don't worry, Osawa said. I don't know who that girl is, but right now she's outside the lab. There's no way she can kill me or plant a bomb in here or anything. I know. Maria gave a tiny nod, but something gnawed at the back of her mind. Make sure you wear the necklace. Hurriedly, Maria took off the pendant that hung around her neck. As soon as she did, she felt the chill run up her spine. She went back over the details of Alfred's plan as her father had explained it, and then finally she understood. I've got it. Osawa straightened up. You got what? I need to get out of here. Get out there where those three are. Don't be absurd. I have to go. Osawa peered closely at his daughter's face. Words weren't going to stop her, and as he realized that, his own face stiffened with determination. Alright, but I'm going with you. I can't let you rush into danger all by yourself. Thank you, Dad. Maria tried to get up from the sofa, but she was struck by a wave of vertigo and her knees buckled. You alright? Osawa caught her by the arm. This is probably a side effect of the antiviral. You shouldn't push yourself too much. Maria looked up at her father's anxious face and shook her head. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Her body was weak with lethargy, her mind trapped in a disorienting haze. Every step was a monumental effort, but she clenched her jaw and forced herself onward, making her way down the laboratory hallway. A whirlwind of anger and sadness spurred her onward. Alfred was masquerading as Kanan. The cruel truth was all too clear. The terrorists who would never have been able to get away with the deception of Kanan were still alive. What? Which means that Kanan must be... Maria fought to hold back tears. No, it's too early to cry just yet. That could wait until after she put a stop to Alfred's plan. Using her rage to suppress her sorrow, she shoved her open the door in front of her. That isn't Kanan! We all, Stanley and Patino clearly know that. Maria's voice exploded into the silence of the standoff. I doubt we're getting a better testimony than that, Stanley said, his gun still at the ready. There's no talking your way out of things this time. The expression on Alfred's face didn't change. She stood still, a mannequin without a soul. What did you do to Kanan? Maria demanded, marching unsteadily toward the terrorist. Maria, stay back, Osawa exclaimed. She ignored him. Hey, don't get any closer, Takano barked. He looked exhausted, on the verge of collapse. Answer me, Maria cried, still advancing. What happened to Kanan? But Alfred said nothing. Stanley, too, began edging toward her. It doesn't matter what you ask, he said. She won't tell you anything. Bit by bit, he inched closer. He was going to try to take her down. Let me turn your question around, Alfred said abruptly. What do you think? Maria paused, confused. What do I think about what? What do you think happened to Kanan? Oh, is the real Kanan gonna come in actually and save them? That'd be kind of badass. The corners of her lips twisted up, shaping a mirthless smile. You killed her, didn't you? Maria's words came out as a whisper. What was that? I couldn't quite hear you. You killed Kanan, didn't you? This time Maria cried out with biting fury. Alfred snickered. She's provoking me, Maria thought, forcing herself to swallow her rage. She couldn't let herself get caught up in Alfred's game, or her anger would spill out of control. Why are you laughing? By force of will, Maria made her voice firm and steady. Because I'm guessing you weren't expecting me to show up here. Alfred raised an eyebrow ever so slightly. This thing here, it's a bomb, isn't it? Maria held up the necklace. What? Stanley furrowed his brow. Of course, even if we managed to catch you here, you'd still be able to destroy the lab. Still, the smile remained on Alfred's face. She seemed to enjoy watching the others figure out her intentions. You can't trigger the bomb with me standing this close to you, can you? Maria locked eyes with Alfred. Unless you're prepared to sacrifice yourself. She stood like an image of bravery, while the inside of her apprehension threatened to tear her apart. She could feel her heart thudding so furiously, and she thought it might explode. Cold sweat trickled down her spine. Only her rage at Kanan's murder kept her from backing down. Go ahead and blow yourself up if that's what you want, she said. But you'll die with nothing. Your death will mean nothing. But not mine. My death will avenge Kanan's. A bomb! Oh god, what's this? It's a bomb! Oh, everybody down! Silence fell inside the laboratory gates. Stanley and Tateno stood frozen, their guns still trained on Alfred. Both men were ready to pull the trigger at the slightest provocation. Just how long had they been there, staring one another down? The passage of time seemed slow, seconds turned into hours. Osawa swallowed audibly. Finally, Alfred tossed her gun onto the pavement and held up both hands in surrender. Stanley wasted no time, springing forward to secure her. He gave her a thorough pat-down from behind. He removed a small device that looked like a detonator from one of her pockets. On your knees! Alfred did as she was told. Good. Now hands behind your head. Trying to think funny, and I will shoot. Without a word, Alfred placed her hands on the back of her head, fingers laced together. Something's not right. She's giving up too easy. What are you playing at? Stanley growled disdainfully. Finally realized you can only push your luck so far? She responded with a faint snicker. It's not my policy to resist when things are hopeless. Her tone was detached, her intentions unreadable. Good. That'll make this easy. Stanley kept the barrel of his gun pointed at Alfred's head. This is for my brother, don't shoot. The words hung in his throat, unspoken. A surge of emotion coursed through him. Just a tiny bit more pressure from his index finger, he could put a bullet right through Alfred's head. His long journey would finally reach a conclusion. More than anything, his finger did not move. If he pulled the trigger now, would that truly be the end? His mind reeled from the implications. Nathaniel watched Stanley closely, eventually letting out a tiny sigh of relief. They were in this together after all. Now they just need to be careful not to let down their guard. He kept one eye on Alfred as he went to pick up the gun she'd discarded. But he was too late. The gun was gone. Oh fuck, this is for Kanan. Maria lunged forward, snatching up the gun. Holy shit, Maria's a beast! Maria, no! Osawa cried. What are you thinking? She ignored her father, taking aim at Alfred's forehead. Kanan's dead. And you're gonna pay. The smoldering rage she'd fought to hold back blazed up with renewed fury. Maria, Stanley said calmly. Put down the gun. He had nothing but words to stop her. There was no telling what Alfred might do if he took the gun off of her. What would that accomplish? He asked, keeping his tone as level as possible. Maria's face remained awash with anger. Maria, her father pleaded. Please don't do this. Tateno took a step forward. Go on and hand me the gun, he said. Stay back! Maria's arms trembled as she aimed the gun. Everyone stood frozen, not even daring to breathe. The slightest wrong move might bring disaster. The silence roared. I don't care, Alfred sneered. If you want to shoot, then shoot. You do want to avenge Kanan, don't you? I don't think Kanan's dead, honestly. Yes, I do. Maria tightened her grip on the gun. Memories of her friend drifted through her mind. To Maria, born into peace, meeting Kanan had been like touching a world beyond her own, a far more complicated world. Kanan had blood on her hands from the time she was a little girl. A walking contradiction of cruelty and childishness. And yet she lived her life according to her own unshakable beliefs. Meeting her had made Maria think hard about her own identity. What did it mean to be Japanese? No, that wasn't the question. What did it mean to be Maria Osawa? That was the crux of it all. They had to be able to find common ground despite differing ideals because both possessed an unshakable sense of self. Maria made her decision. I can't shoot her. I'm not like Kanan. I'll pull the trigger and finish what Kanan started. There's only one way to make this right by her. No, we're not shooting her. Maria's anger dissipated like smoke in a sudden wind. The tension seeped from her body and she carefully lowered the gun. What's the matter? Alfred smirked. Why won't you shoot? Her eyes blazed with contempt for Maria's naivete. No. I'm not being naive, Maria told herself. Do unto others as they have done to you. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. What does this recurring pattern of retribution really accomplish? It's just an endless cycle of hatred. This is why I'm not going to fight. Because I'm not like Kanan. Tears flooded from her eyes. I'm not like Kanan. But people who are different can still be friends, and I'm going to honor our friendship by not taking revenge. No matter what happens, I'm not going to hurt anyone, Maria said. Maybe that's not very realistic, but this is my fight, and I'll fight the way I choose. She wiped away her tears. Aww. For the first time, Maria felt that she understood Kanan. If she'd been able to just see her one more time, she would have been able to speak her mind without fear. I could show Kanan the true me, and maybe then we would be friends for real. But that wasn't going to happen. Not anymore. Maria handed the gun to Tail, then looked up at the nighttime sky. In the distance, she could faintly hear the sound of police sirens. Not one star could be in the sky, seen in the sky over Shibuya. A black car of foreign make arrived at the laboratory and pulled up to the curb. Stanley's superior, Gordon, emerged from the back. A few of his men followed and promptly placed Alfred in handcuffs. Well done, Gordon said. Stanley gave him a slight nod. I'll be taking Alfred back to headquarters. You can finish up here. Understood, sir. Gordon shoved Alfred into the back seat and slid in alongside her as the car drove off. Who was that just now? Tateno asked Stanley. My boss. Sorry, but we'll be taking Alfred into custody. You will, huh? Tateno frowned, but he decided not to press the point. They'd put a stop to Alfred's plan, and they'd save Maria's life. That was enough for him. Maybe he'd even began to atone for what he'd done to Hitomi. Kano. Suzune. Kotone. Tateno pictured all of their faces. Perhaps in the end, he'd managed to become worthy of their respect. It's all over. Stanley spoke under his breath. His gaze locked onto the car, taking Alfred away. The black cloud that hung over his heart had yet to lift. But he knew today was the day he could finally put revenge aside. No longer would memories of his brother bring only sorrow. This'll do, won't it, Frank? We're getting a dramatic face shot of everyone. Abruptly, Maria's cell phone rang in Stanley's pocket. That's right. I want to give this back to you. He handed the phone to Maria. I wonder who's calling, Maria picked up. Is it Hitomi? Gotta be. She could hardly believe when she heard on the line. Yeah, Brusket, girlish with daredevil earring. A voice that had been burned in her mind since the day she met its owner. No, it can't be. She'd been sure she'd never hear that voice again. Come on! In an instant, Maria's face was damp with tears of joy. Thank goodness, oh thank goodness. Kanan. Maria couldn't hold back her sobs. The tears kept coming and coming. She had never wept with joy like this in her life. 1957. We're almost at 20 o'clock. 3 minutes short. 0002. Oh, the bomb. Achi held his breath. He could no longer feel the seconds ticking by. The numbers on the display were changing more and more slowly, but still he watched in fear. It was impossible to not fixate on the countdown. 002, 002, 002. Kano and Achi continued to stare at the timer. It had stopped. The timer had actually stopped. We did it! Achi dropped to his knees with a cry of triumph. The rest of Shibuya Scramble burst into cheers. You are one reckless guy, you know that? Kano held his hand out. Achi grinned up at him. That makes two of us. The two clasped hands firmly, their handshake conveying more than any words could have. Achi! Susumu came running. Oh, I thought it was Hitomi. Susumu came rushing over. You did it, man! I knew you could do it. The two bumped fists. It weren't just me, Achi said. Could never have done it without you guys' help. Susumu smiled bashfully. Hey Susumu, take care of SOS for me. You got it. Susumu looked him squarely in the eye. She gave a little nod and the two solemnly bumped fists again. This is really a sweet ending for them two, in particular. Suddenly, there was a blinding flash. Achi spun around to see Chucky standing there, beaming happily, her digital camera ready for another shot. Hey everyone, gather up! Yonekawa called out to Achi and his pals. You guys are the heroes of Shibuya. Meow, I have arrived. Hello, Gutsin. How's it going? How you doing today? You're here just in time for the very end of Shibuya Scramble. Photo time, everyone, Chucky said. Get ready. The young men struck a pose together. Wait, her too! Yonekawa ushered Hitomi over to stand with Achi. Hitomi? Achi flashed her a sheepish grin. It was all thanks to Hitomi that he'd been able to do what he'd done. Keeping Shibuya safe, keeping his promise to Suzume. Hitomi had been his inspiration for it all. There were so many things he wanted to say, but he couldn't get the right words out. Achi, Hitomi's cheeks were damp with tears. Hey now, young lady, Yonekawa called. No crying now. Come on, show us a smile. He struck a goofy pose beside Chucky. At last, the smile returned to Hitomi's face. It really is the best. Hitomi looked up at Achi in confusion. Your smile, he said. It's the best. I don't care what anyone else says. He spoke so earnestly that Hitomi couldn't help but smile even more. Okay, here we go, people. Get your best faces on. At Yonekawa's signal, everyone let out a joyous victory cry. Come on, guys, Susumu shouted. Let's lift Achi up to where everyone can see him. And I really that's what I said out another corner. No, you don't gotta do that, guys. Hey, cut it out! But Achi had already been swallowed by the enthusiastic throng. The boys, I know, right? What a goon squad. Plus Hitomi. I'm really satisfied with the way Achi's story between him and SOS ended. I'm very, very satisfied. I think it's a great ending. There in the middle of the scramble, Achi was being hailed as a hero. Kano looked on with a satisfied smile. What they had achieved together was nothing less than a miracle. It had taken a lot of luck and more than a few coincidences for them to stop the bomb. Coincidences? Kano muttered to himself. No, that wasn't right. There's something different altogether. Fate. That's what it was. Not just one person's fate. But the destinies of several people had collided, gathering momentum until coincidence became inevitably. Coincidence became inevitability. There we go. And Shibuya was saved. The raucous crowd tossed Achi high into the air again and again. And as a plainclothes detective, Kano would probably never be showered with adulation like that. Well, that was alright. The detective's duty was to ensure the safety of the people. He didn't put his life on the line so that he could be a hero. Just seeing all the smiles, that was good enough for him. Kano only needed the approval of one person, and that was Mimi. I hope she managed to get out of Shibuya okay. Suddenly worried, Kano pulled out his cell phone. There was a whole bunch of things he wanted to tell her. He couldn't share the whole story, the police rules wouldn't allow it, but he wanted to let her know as much as he could. That the kidnapping case had been resolved safely, for instance. Mimi-chan. That he learned about the tortured past of the detective he so admired. His partner was going to pull through. That he managed to finally talk to her father. That he put his life on the line to save Shibuya from danger. Numi would listen quietly to the very end, and then Kano thought he knew just what she'd say. Short and sweet. In that gentle voice of hers. Good job. How bland. Numi, hello? There's no response. Do they have a bad connection? Hello? Numi, are you there? Can you hear me? Well, the case is closed now. If you're still somewhere close to Shibuya, I'd love to see you if I can. You want to see me, huh? It's Shizuo. Don't you have a mountain of paperwork you should be doing first? The gruff voice was Shizuo's. Oh, well, you see, father, I told you not to call me that. Shizuo barked so loudly over the phone that Kano's ear rang. Numi is up. That'd be so funny. No, of course, and yes, I'll do my job. I just wanted to check and make sure that Nomi was alright. Looks like I misjudged you. Maybe you are the kind of guy who will blow off work to go meet with a girl. That hey! Kano heard Numi's voice crowd with exasperation. Come on, let me have my phone. I know that work is important, sir, Kano said hurriedly, but Numi is even more important to me. He felt his panic rising. After all that had happened, he didn't want Shizuo to end up with a bad impression. I'll be quiet. If you want to see Numi, you can do it once you've finished your work. Well, but I'm not sure when that's going to be. I waited on you today a lot longer than I wanted. So at this point, I don't care how long it takes you. We can wait all night if we have to. Shizuo let out a peculiar sigh. And then you and I can talk again about your marrying my daughter. Dun dun dun. Huh? Before Kano could be sure he'd heard that right, Shizuo hung up. Huh? What? He stared at the phone, his mind reeling, and then he was hit with a veritable explosion of joy. Yes! Let's fucking go! Kano leapt in the air and shouted with delight. Look at the air he caught. That's a high jump. His voice echoing the Shibuya streets. Let's fucking go! Once the crowd had put Achi back down on his feet, he rushed over to Hitomi. So, Hitomi, yes? Hitomi, there's so much stuff I want to talk to you about. So many things I want to tell you. He gazed into her face. But Suzune, he didn't know how to continue. Hitomi smiled warmly. She understood. Go on, Achi, go see your sister. There's nobody here in trouble that you need to rescue now. Thank you. I better get going, then, to see Suzune. Is the epilogue gonna be about Suzune? Achi broke away from his circle of friends. I mean, it'll probably be all of them, like, right? How things go with Shizuo and he headed out of Achi broke away from his circle of friends and headed out of Shibuya Scramble. Strangely enough, his leg didn't hurt too much now. Despite all that had happened, he felt invigorated, as if he was just waking to a brand new day. Achi! Hitomi called after him. I will see you again, won't I? Achi nodded vigorously. Of course. Come to Shibuya, you'll find me. I bought the entire Kingdom Hearts collection for PS4. It'll get here in a few days. You bought it? Like, in physical? Damn, baller! You excited to play? Now kiss. Oh my god, wait, Jack Stanley's actor was actually Jack Woodyard. Okay. It is late, so I'm not gonna really talk about it for too long. I'm gonna talk about my thoughts for 5 minutes real quick. It was on sale on Amazon. Oh, lit! Wow, you got a lot of games. You have like hundreds of hours of playtime ahead, but it shall be very fun. Yeah, again, I think I shared quite a few thoughts towards the end, and I did share a lot of thoughts throughout the game. So, like, something that was so immensely satisfying about this game was that every narrative end, everything about the story, obviously it's a narrative game, so it has to be very tight, but it felt very tight. Everything felt extremely contained, and it was like there was no stone unturned by, like, testers and the writers, right? And the thing is, like, for the most part of the game, like, bad endings are really enjoyable. Hopefully this is not copyrighted as well. I don't want to get muted. Screw it. You know what? It's fine. But something I did really like with this game is, again, the narrative felt, like, the design of the narrative felt very, very close. And I can't think of a better word for it, but it felt very tight, and like every single minute thing had been very thought through and like sculpted. Sculpted's a really good another word for it too. But like, holy shit! At the very end, Achi and Kano during the bomb defusal, I was actually really losing my patience, honestly. Because, like, it was also really disappointing to feel that frustrated, because throughout the game, I never felt frustrated from getting bad endings. I never felt frustrated from being led astray. And I never felt frustrated from playing wrong choices. Except in the very end. Which, again, like I said, was literally just by the nature of, like, I'm getting the exact same bad ending 6 different times. 7 different times. 8 different times. It was about to go insane. Like, I don't want to grind in a narrative game, but it felt grindy. Like, grinding is just not part of the core loop, and if it really should not be in a game like this. But otherwise, like, I've really enjoyed a lot of the bad endings in this game. I was never upset or frustrated that I got a bad ending because, like, the game system itself was also really smart in tracking and remembering your choices. So 1, it never really made you replay, and 2, it was very easy to change the choice just to see what kind of effect it would have on the big timeline. So that was also really cool, like how intelligent the programming behind this game is, and how well it still holds up, like, you know, 10 plus years later. As well as something I really enjoyed about the bad choices. About all the choices in the game is, 1, I don't like it when quote the right choice is obvious, and so there were a lot of times where the line between the quote right, cutscene. Gordon and Alfred sat in the back seat as the car sped along the highway. Is she gonna break out? Oh, here. Gordon tossed a handcuff key onto the seat behind him. What happened down at the Scramble? Alfred asked. Picking up the key and Leland Palmer was arrested by the Japanese police, and the bomb in the attaché case was Wait, but he did say, right? She has ties with the CIA. CIA is corrupted! And the bomb in the attaché case was defused, apparently. Still, Palmer shouldn't pose a problem once we get him into CIA custody. I see. Much obliged. You really got yourself backed into a corner, though, didn't you? Gordon said. Yeah, I was only able to accomplish half of what I intended. Half? Alfred produced a vial from her pocket. It was filled with red liquid. Is that Hitomi's blood? Gordon asked. Indeed. I managed to acquire the antiviral. But when? Gordon peered at her in bewilderment. When I blew up the minivan, in the dim light of the vehicle, Alfred's eyes shone darkly, like those of a wounded animal. Extracting the blood from Hitomi while she was unconscious had been a simple matter. Saving the girl's life had been more than just a means of ensuring her trust. Alfred had been looking for the right moment to carry out the extraction. Total secrecy was essential. If it gained public knowledge that the drug existed and that some of it had been stolen, the value of the UA virus would plummet. Our primary objective here was to destroy that research facility. Still, getting your hands on the antiviral is better than nothing. Well done, as always, Alfred. Holy fuck. Oh shit, we gotta play the epilogue now, honestly. Does someone see her, or does she see someone? Stanley's gonna be behind her. Oh, it's the real Kanan. Alfred knows she's there. It'd be so chilling if these are the only voice acted lines in the game. Oh, I really was not expecting that. Shit! Okay. The CIA agents say, yo, where'd she go? The fuck? And then they just look back and see the shootout happening. Black bookmark. What does that mean? Okay, anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted by a really cool post-credits cutscene. What was it? I was in the middle of the thought about, right? I really enjoyed. Oh my god. Oh right, there's the anime. Can I skip this shit? I don't care about this trailer.
目的となる貨物車両を3両目警報は解除したんじゃないのかただかそちらの進行潜入経路に問題はないみんな黙らせていいんだよ彼女の専門は暗号や
But no, I can't skip this, can I? Okay, I'm just gonna lower the volume and keep talking over it. But okay, that was really short-lit. Yeah, so something I really enjoyed about the choice in this game is one, it was very frequently not apparent what the right choice was. As well as when you got a bad ending, you totally understood how to fix it. You totally understood how to fix it, right? Like, even as you were, and like, it felt like a very snowbally feeling towards each bad end, right? Like, you'd be watching and you're like, oh, this is not right, this is not right. And then, you would realize it, but the bad end wouldn't drag itself out too long either, but like every bad end, like I said, had a good snowball on it, that like it's like, oh my god, A to B to C to D is happening, we're about to get a bad ending. That was something that was also really satisfying about the story, in that, like, again, you know when you're about to hit disaster, and the disaster is something you also very clearly know how to fix, like, most of the time. As well as you don't feel bad for having to fix a disaster, because managing choices in this game is actually so easy just because of how, like, smart the timeline is. And, like, it's so visual, too, so... Honestly, this game... I gotta say... Oh, man. This game, though, was so close to, like, a solid, like, 9 out of 10 for me. But the real disappointing thing truly was, like, right, like 1830 through 1930 for fucking Achi Kano. Holy shit, I was gonna lose my mind and I was tilting. But, oh my god, this game, weirdly enough, I wasn't more shocked by Kanan, like the fake one, being Alfred. I was just like fucking bawling when we got to play as like Stanley and Kateno. That was really great. That was like my favorite twist in the whole, not twist, but like favorite like bizarre development, I guess, in the game. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I've already talked about my thoughts, and like throughout the game I talked a lot about the thoughts, but this game was really good. The narrative was just written so impeccably, like the narrative structure. It was really great, and I enjoyed it. And I know if you've been watching the entire time I've been playing this game, you've had the whole game spoiled for you, so you might not want to play it, but who knows? Maybe you guys can download it in a couple years from now and have kind of forgotten like most of the plot, except for maybe the major main point, but hopefully 420 great Shibuya Scramble. I would definitely give it a great with a capital G. I also ended up liking this game a lot more than I thought, which was really cool. But this game, playing this game on stream, really fucking took it out of me, honestly. There's so much reading that had to happen. And reading aloud, again, I swear I only have like an 85% reading accuracy on stream because, again, my brain will understand the meaning, but I won't say the words right. Like, you know, like, the sentence itself would say, like, let's first go to Shibuya and ask people on the streets there what they saw. But I would say, like, let's go to Shibuya. Let's go ask people on the streets of Shibuya what they saw first, right? I would just, like, change the entire order of the sentence. Like, I have the total right meaning, but I would read the sentence so wrong. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna do bonus content yet. I'm gonna think about it a little bit. We'll see. Like, on stream, I mean. I'm probably play it on my own time, but we'll see if I stream it. I'm kind of leaning towards doing it, but we'll see, we'll see. Anyways, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna go play the new Genshin patch, or at least download the patch. And thank you everyone for joining me for yet another game we have completed on stream. Woo! Next stream will be next week. No streams this Saturday. I'm gonna be out of town. But yeah, stream will be back probably next Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not 100% sure yet, but sure yet. But yeah, sorry. Gonna be a little bit of a break because I'm very busy this week and then I'm out of town for the weekend, so thank you everyone for coming by to stream, and thank you everyone for coming by for yet another full playthrough of a game. And I will see you all next time I see you, and have a good rest of your nights, days, whatever. And yeah, bye!